Hello, listeners, and welcome to the Pod Fruit One Piece Through New Eyes. On today's episode, we will be discussing Volume 11, titled The Meanest Man in the East. Volume 11 covers chapters 91 through 99. I am the host, Michael, and with me, as always, we have our One Piece rookies, V and Dylan.
Hello.
Bonjour.
Mixing things up today, I see. Good for you. I want to take a moment to remind you we would love for you to join us on Twitter, Instagram, and or Discord for all our latest announcements and information. On Twitter, we are at PodFruit. Instagram, it's just PodFruit, not just PodFruit. It is only the word PodFruit. Should I spell it? I won't. And our Discord is linked in the description. We would also love if you gave us a follow and a review. Let us know what you like or what you don't. We're tough. You can tell us what you really think about us, well, except for Dylan. We won't tell him what you said.
I can take it, but I might cry.
Okay, just send it to me. It's on a need-to-know basis for the other two.
He's gonna filter it. We're sensitive. Yeah. We're little babies. It's okay.
V, Dylan, they said you guys were bad. Already crying.
Is it my fault they got a divorce?
Also, a quick reminder, the pod is going on break for the month of April. You can look forward to our return in May with the live stream East Blue recap extravaganza. Definitely look forward to that. We will have some One Piece trading card game prizes to give away. So, let's begin. I have a summary here, pulled from the archives of Viz, the publisher. I did not edit this one, so it is just rather straightforward. After almost drowning at the hands of Sawtooth Arlong, captain of the nasty Fishman pirates, Luffy bounces back with a few tricks up his sleeve. The fate of Cocoa Village, if not, the rest of the East Blue rests on the outcome of their final battle.
Hell yeah!
Yeah! I am under the impression that today's episode begins with Dylan. If you guys have evidence to dispute that,
I don't
please.
Remember. So Dylan, you go ahead.
Works for me. This one's pretty much like almost like 100% action the whole time. But we cut in to where like just after Luffy had done like the old switcheroo with one of the other fisherman pirates. And Arlong's pretty ticked. He's like, how dare you do that to one of my men? How dare you use them as a shield? And Luffy's like, whatever, dude. You started it.
You use people as slaves.
It's funny. Everyone's like, oh, he has an idea. Well, what is it? What's the key to victory? And then
that was us at the end of last chapter. Or last volume.
Yeah.
And essentially all it is he's like, haha, look, now he like in a bit of a tussle takes away one of the jaws and like puts it in his own mouth. It's like, haha, now the playing field is evened. I have shark teeth too. And, Johnny and not Johnny are like, oh, what a fucking idiot. Arlong takes it personally.
That was your big idea?
Yeah, exactly. Arlong is like, you're making fun of me. I don't like that. And he keeps pelting him with the tooth attack. Like I said, this is mostly just a scuffle between Arlong and Luffy the whole time. But then eventually Arlong does like get him straight across the tum-tums with his teeth. But then Luffy takes that opportunity to bite into him with his own teeth. Which it actually makes purchase. It actually pierces his skin because he's had trouble doing that with other stuff before.
Stop hitting yourself.
Yeah.
Stop biting yourself.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, how's it feel to be beaten by your own teeth, loser?
Why do you keep hitting yourself?
But then the line's like, they may be my teeth, but your jaws are too weak. A shark's teeth are deadly because its jaw muscles have the strength to bite through flesh and bone. And it gets him on the arm. That's a great panel, too, when he just, like, catches him right on the arm there. And everyone sees that. It's like, oh, he's going to rip his arm off. And then Luffy just... That's even hard to, like, kind of see how he... Because he kind of, like, jumps up and uses that jump to force all of his momentum.
Yeah, that's how I saw it in my mind. It's like he uses that and then, like, leans into it with Arlong's teeth still stuck in his arm.
Jumps into, like, a judo toss and just slams his ass to the ground. And then after doing that, it looks like he pries his mouth open and takes his arm out. And it's like, dude, all right, Luffy, like, what the fuck?
What's on that?
Fucking Sharkadile Dundee over here.
Sharkadile Dundee?
And that took me a while to think that one up. It's like, come on, Dundee, something. You got it.
Oh, you must have bit me, little guy. Let me just remove them
Oh,
jaws.
that hurt, didn't it, right there, mate? Oh, God. It's kind of funny. You see, Kenzo? That's the mayor's name, right?
Pinwheel.
Yeah. Pinwheel hat, Kenzo. He's like, man, if he had taken one step back, he would have lost that arm. And then Sanji kind of sees through it. He's like, nah, I don't think he thought that far ahead. That was dumb luck. It's like, yeah. But it works for him. That's his superpower. It's dumb luck. Oh, and then right below that, you get a nobody makes me bleed my own blood moment from Arlong, because he kind of touches his shoulder and looks at the blood.
I wrote that exact same thing down somewhere. Yep.
Next panel, Luffy takes the teeth out of his tum-tums. And then you get that middle panel is just a great shot of, like, all the damage that has been done to Arlong Park so far. Because you got, like, the crumpled, like, awning. Rayman hole is still there. Love to see it. And then it seems like Usopp was the one to pay attention, because he's like, where'd he go? And Usopp's like, he's in the water. Look out.
From his little hole in the wall.
And of course, like, and the panel, you see just the fin swimming through the water, and like my head the whole time I saw that, I was like, ba-dun, ba-dun. Luffy's like, hey, it's a shark. Usopp's like, no, it's Arlong, you fucking idiot.
Don't worry about the shark, even if it was a shark.
Right?
Yeah. So what?
And then just fucking Arlong goes underwater, has a little monologue to himself. And of course, as Luffy's kind of like leaning over the water, peering into it, getting his face next to the water.
Gotta get eyes on that bad boy.
Yeah. And then Arlong uses shark darts, which the panel for darts, that's pretty cool. It kind of gives you an idea of like the amount of force. Sent Luffy flying. Looks like he's bleeding some more again. Also, he goes like smashing straight to the side of Arlong Park. Yeah, and from the looks of it, that hit Luffy really hard, because you see him kind of just like sitting there holding his wounds. Going, ooh, ow! Which you don't really see from him that often. And of course, Arlong's, again, be like, ho, 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 I'm so superior. Shark darts.
Sounds like you're advertising shark darts.
Shark darts, a fun game to play with your kids.
Become the superior race.
Join the Third Reich and get shark darts. And then Luffy dodges this one this time, and Sanji's like, oh my god, he really is unbreakable. And Luffy's like, haha, I got his nose stuck in the ground. Which doesn't matter, because Arlong immediately, hits him with another shark darts. This is like that one friend you play Super Smash Brothers with, who just uses the same move over and over and over and over again.
That's me.
That's not me.
When I use
Damn
Pikachu,
it, I can't.
I just do the Thunderbolt every time with Pikachu.
The down B Thunderbolt that comes down from above?
Yeah.
Okay,
so depending on the map, that's pretty strong. Yeah. That's why I play on Hyrule Castle. I can get down underneath there. You can't hurt me.
Bro, the Thunderdome?
That's pretty much all I got for the show. Like I said, that one was pretty much just like fight the whole time. There wasn't really much.
Punch, kick. It's all in the mind.
And then, instead of the SBS, we actually started to get some it looks like a 3D render.
Yeah.
Computer render of the Merry-Go.
From 97. It definitely looks like it's a product of its era.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Which, fun note, this week I actually saw a schooner out in the ocean. That was pretty neat. You don't see the sail rig ships anymore.
No, you don't. Wonder what kind of people even own those.
Right?
My guess is like it's some like tourist thing where it's like, oh yeah, you bring your family and we'll sail you down the coast and back up for
that would make sense.
Impress them? Not like show off for them, but like impress them into...
Oh, press them into service? It's like, oh, you're on the boat, that's cool. Well, you're not getting off. You're part of the crew.
Yeah.
Well, that's what blew my mind.
You're stuck here forever.
Yeah, that's what blew my mind. I saw it out there. It's like, that takes at least like 8 to 12 people to like sail, like bare minimum. But yeah. Anyways, that's all I got.
Me?
See.
So, paying attention to Kobe and Helmeppo's journey in the intro image story that we're getting, the first thing I noticed about this one was that the figurehead of the incoming ship was a doggo. And so by the title, we're gathering that this is the ship of Vice Admiral Garp, which we will see more of in this volume. But yeah, I love dogs. And so when I saw the dog figurehead, I was like, it's a dog.
That is a good looking ship.
That is
a good boy.
That is a good boy.
It's a heckin' good ship.
What a good boy.
Heckin' good ship.
Yeah, Dylan pointed it out, but the almost childish vibe of the conversation between Luffy and Arlong kind of continues in this volume, with Luffy basically saying, "Nuh-uh, you started first. You did it first." Yeah, and then it's kind of funny to see Luffy building up the anticipation with regards to what his genius idea is. To me it fell a little flat. So I guess he's wearing his teeth as dentures. Okay. Well,
It's the key to victory.
But is it? But it's not. See, the thing is, it's actually not. We will find out later what the key to victory is. It's a lot more impactful than just wearing his own teeth as Arlong's teeth as dentures. But yeah, anyway, that was funny.
A little muttering Dylan said something over here.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing like the grand idea was the friends we made along the way or anything.
Oh, God. I liked at the bottom of page 6, I like how Johnny and not Johnny call Luffy out on his shenanigans, even in the middle of a fight, no less. Maybe not the best time, but I feel like Luffy does need to be called out on his behaviors. Not that he understands and not that he really takes it into account at all, but I feel like it's just nice and refreshing to see him being called out. I think he needs that. I had a comment for the bottom of page 8. I said, that's a heck of a numb right in the middle of Arlong's shoulder from Luffy. Like a big bite. A big
bitey boy.
I'm gonna hit him with that shunk.
I'm a piranha.
And again, I feel like the childish nature of the interaction continues there with like how does that feel, huh?
Stop biting yourself. Stop biting yourself.
It's like they're in middle school, but with like weapons and abilities that could actually kill each other. But it's just the attitude feels very middle school playground fight,
right.
And oh my gosh, the panel of Luffy prying his mangled arm from Arlong's teeth at the top of page 11 made me squirm in my seat. And because the way it's drawn, you can basically see the flesh being ripped away.
Oh, yes.
And like with the blood dripping down, and he has his hand on Arlong's jaw like he was actually prying it open. I was like, oh yeah, that made me cringe. And
hold on, don't forget about schlup.
Yeah, the onomatopoeia. That's a difficult word. The onomatopoeia that comes with it. Yeah, schlup. It's like the bloody flesh just falling. Ugh. Anyway, very, very visceral. When I first noticed that Arlong got in the water, I actually said out loud, "Oh, SpaghettiOs." Because I'm like, this cannot be good. Because we've seen throughout the previous volumes maybe that the fishmen are much more agile and much stronger in their own element, which is water. And Arlong decided to take advantage of that. And yeah, so it took me a minute to kind of wrap my head around what Arlong was actually doing. So he basically propels himself out of the water at full speed and acts as a torpedo, is what I'm gathering from, the drawings. And I was just thinking, that's terrifying. Like, imagine you're like walking by a pool and then you just see that come right at you. Like, I would shit my pants. You would probably not make it far enough.
Yeah. That's how like great whites actually like attack prey. Like they'll just ram at it at like 60 miles an hour.
But not out of the water.
No, I mean, probably. They actually, no, like a lot of times, like, if they're going after seals and shit, they'll come up out of the water hitting them.
Bite down.
And that's the issue where it's like, oh, if a great white attacks a human, it's usually not going to eat it because it doesn't want to. The issue is it came at you full force, like 40 miles an hour, and bit into you. You're fucked. You're going to bleed to death. Yeah. Sorry. It was an accident, but you're gone.
They're not to be fucked with, honestly. Both sharks and fishmen, apparently. And yeah, I was just like, this is terrifying. And I mean, the chances of me actually finding myself in a situation such as that one are very, very slim. But still, I feel like it's still unlocked at like...
You should probably still be careful.
just don't hang around 3 Mile Island. It's not a good idea.
What's 3 Mile Island?
It's where there's a nuclear disaster. It's on a lake, so water, nuclear radiation, fishmen.
Oh, gotcha.
Bit of a stretch.
If you're planning on spending any extended periods of time near large bodies of water anytime soon, just keep an eye out.
Well, I'm just saying we're going to be on a cruise. It's all going to be water, Michael.
Just never put your guard down.
There might be a fish man that's gonna torpedo right the fuck at me. We never know.
He's gonna see some dude in a Hawaiian shirt and it's gonna be hands on sight.
Yeah.
He has a really weird nose also. Watch out.
Those, hey!
You. I know who you are.
That's going to be the majority of the people on this boat. You need to calm down.
Oh no. I'm just going to be constantly afraid. That's okay. I have anxiety. I'm always constantly afraid.
That's what is the thing the Hulk says? That's the trick to me. I don't know. Anyway.
All that's to say, new fear unlocked.
Meme.
New unreasonable fear unlocked. And yeah, I also like seeing the structure of the ship in the SBS. Throughout this whole volume, we do get more snippets of the inside of the ship, which I liked better than the 3D late 90s rendition of it. But I still thought that was a good way to kind of set the scene and establish what we are going to be looking at in the later SBSs in this volume. And that's what I had for chapter 91. Michael?
All right. Yeah, you guys did great. So I'm just going to clean up some finer points here.
Thanks, Michael.
Oh, I mean it.
Thanks for the validation.
So, Dylan, last episode, you said chunk of masonry.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember saying chunk of masonry, but that phrase has stuck with me. And anytime I see rubble at Arlong Park, I'm just like, look at all that masonry.
I mean, it's what it is.
Right. No, you're
that's
100%
nice
correct.
masonry right there.
It's some good mason work there, I'll tell you what, Bo.
I think another person, perhaps one who's not you, would just say rocks or rubble or something, but I appreciate the use of the term masonry. And I wrote because there's so much rubble around. Like the destruction, you pointed out the panel where the destruction's shown, and it's like Oda has not missed a single bit. And I mean, maybe a lot of authors and illustrators would be as detailed. But I just like to see it. The hole with Karubi, the different places where stuff's been knocked down. There is masonry galore here.
Build a whole new building out of all this masonry.
Yeah. Right? And they probably will, actually.
Nice pool house.
I love Sanji saying, has Luffy found the key to victory? No, but the kick was nice. He does kick the shit out of Arlong right up front. The bite, Luffy got his arm bit real good, and there's like one scene where it shows it's deep. Based on what we know about Arlong, he should have lost that arm. But the way he slams him down afterwards was so badass.
So
that was probably my favorite moment in the fight thus far between them. Luffy was taking some L's here. It wasn't all up, even though he got that slam, and I think Arlong like wipes blood from his face or something. That's when he decides to go in the water. He's like, you know what, fuck this. And I thought that was just a good sequence. I thought it really showed Arlong kind of building up some battle damage here and changing his strategy. And I kind of already said this, but Dylan, I also wrote, nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Well, it's the only thing I could think when I saw that.
And then one of the last shark darts, Arlong does it from a position where his nose is stuck in the ground. Obviously, his nose is supporting the rest of his massive frame, but there's no leverage there for him to do another shark darts. And there's no panel showing him gaining leverage. Minor, absolutely super minor call out, but that was weird.
Oh, Arlong can fly, didn't you know that? Yeah, that was weird, because everything else was like he's either up from coming from really high to get all that momentum, or he's coming out of the water, and this one it was like, no, he's just flat on the ground.
Exactly. And, his first shark dart tears up some masonry, and I'm sitting here wondering, who's their mason? Who did this? Like, this is shoddy workmanship here. The rubble's just like...
Tofu dregs all over again.
Yeah. What?
Tofu dregs? You haven't heard about that? It's a whole thing. Apparently, the big boom of the Chinese economy was construction. It was shoddily done because all the corruption. Now all those projects are falling to pieces.
Okay.
And they call them tofu dregs. Well, it's just construction was the boom of the economy, so all the construction guys were just like, "Oh, let's just keep a bunch of money."
Construction Bob. They should have hired him to do it.
Bob the Builder?
No, Construction Rob.
Survivor player.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Boston Rob, for any of those who know. I just call him Construction Rob.
I thought you called him... Either way. Good chapter. Not a runaway success, though. I would say that like, Arlong in the water was not super exciting. His shark darts were not particularly fun to read and watch. The tooth stuff was a little odd and underwhelming, so it kind of started in a weird place and ended in a...
Yeah, the fact that we pick up right, like, at the halfway point of, like, the shark hand things is kind of weird.
Yeah. I think it was not a great way to pick up from what we left off in the previous volume. It was a sweet cliffhanger, you know? Luffy was like, I got an idea. And everyone's like, oh, I can't imagine what his idea is.
God,
and it was...
fucking sucks.
It was a little...
Yeah, it was dong water. We can say it. We can say dong water.
Dong
here.
water?
Can we say
No, dong.
Dong water? Okay.
It's dong water.
Wait, is it dog water?
Yeah, dog water is the popular term.
I was just thinking bong water.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
It's water you steep your dong in.
That's what I thought. Okay, I'm way off. No dong water here. Yeah, the shark darts were kind of meh for me. But I absolutely loved Luffy leaning into Arlong's attack. That was the high point of this chapter, and a chapter that didn't wow me. It really didn't. But things do get better with chapter 92, which is V.
Yeah, so continuing kind of our exploration of what happens with Captain Morgan, we find out that he is still, every time I see a picture of Morgan, I cannot help but think, how is he Helmeppo's dad? Like, how are they related? I can't wrap my head around it, and maybe I just need to see his mom to understand
because he's so handsome and Helmeppo's so ugly.
Yeah, exactly.
She says, fuck Zoro, I'm a Morgan girl.
I mean...
Look at those muscles.
No, well, Zoro has a very special place in my heart, but, like, big, tall guys with muscles? Okay. Okay, I'm here for it.
If we're just handing them out, I'll take one.
Exactly.
I'll take Dylan,
you want some?
And then, we see a little bit more of the Vice Admiral Garp, who looks like a dog. Anyway, unsure, but we see more of that.
He's wearing a dog like cowl.
Okay, it's on his actual face.
That fit kind of go hard as fuck, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I can see Dylan rocking that shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Fucking clean ass suit with the overcoat. Whoa.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass, and just that shot.
He's flanked by someone who looks super important.
Yeah,
like on the left, that dude with his arms crossed.
And with like the fedora hat style thing with the sword. Yeah,
and mobster vibes for sure.
Yeah. Overall, that was like for an intro, an intro image shot.
Between this one and the last one, like with the dog ship, and
it looks good. Like there's actual effort being put into those, and I think it's important to recognize that. So as we're kind of starting this chapter, I gotta say the first thing that kind of caught my eye was the shot of Luffy preparing his Gum shield, just at the middle of page 3 when he has his fingers like lined up together. At first I was like, I don't know how much that's gonna work, but like this is a shark dart. We've heard all about the shark darts and how amazing they are. I don't know that your little fingies are gonna do much of anything. But it turns out that it works exactly as expected. What I did not expect, however, was the finger net at page 7. I don't know if I was traumatized by salad fingers, but the shot of Luffy's super long fingers intertwined honestly creeped me the fuck out. I was like, I never want to see that ever again in my entire life.
It's definitely some cryptid shit.
It's not great. It's not a good look,
no,
Luffy.
It's not. It's just,
Who's ready to get tickled?
Like, oh, no, please.
Please don't tickle me. I'll be a good boy.
But like,
I'll be a good boy.
Between the like, if I were to pick, the shot of Luffy prying his arm out of Arlong's mouth, and this, which one I want to never see again, it would be the finger net.
Yeah, I would love to see Arlong get Luffy's arm pried out of his.
But what I mean is they were both very visceral reactions, but for some reason the finger net was worse. And I think maybe it has something to do with just the panel before we see all of his fingers like intertwined on themselves. Yeah. And I was like, that is disgusting. I hate it. I really don't like it. And then the action continues. We have a few good action shots. I really liked page 8 in particular. A very interesting perspective on the Gum Gum spear and seeing it dig right in Arlong's chest. Like, very nicely drawn. I know we use that word a lot, but very dynamic.
You can actually see that he's like pointing his toes down.
Right, exactly.
Because before you don't really get to see that, but...
Right, and I feel like that shift in perspective does really well at translating the action, in that you see it from the top with him shooting down the spear, and then you see it landing right in Arlong's chest and his
right below the rib
reaction.
cage.
Right, exactly. And I thought that was interesting as far as art choices and, play on perspective. That's always something that catches my eye. The close-ups of Arlong's face while he's aggroed are really good. Like, starting off at the bottom of page 9, just his eyes, the way his eyes change is very jarring, and he kind of keeps that going throughout the rest of this chapter. Also really enjoyed seeing the 2-page sequence where Arlong punches through the wall to grab his shark saw. That whole action,
yes.
Like that shot where he punches through, grabs it, pulls it out. So good. So good. And it's like I could actually see it move in my mind. And it was cinematic. That was a cinematic moment for sure in this chapter. We love
dynamic. We love onomatopoeia. We love cinematic. You're just going to have to deal with it.
And masonry.
And masonry.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're adding masonry. And then just the sword also. Like, that's a big sword. That's a scary sword.
Like Bleach vibes for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought Dynasty Warriors, probably because we had the Dynasty Warriors conversation last time.
That's true. And so I guess... Technically, would we actually call this a sword, or would we call it a saw?
Maybe I would consider it more of an axe, because the way you're not really slicing, it's more of a chopping motion, I would assume.
Axe is good.
Like
I can live with axe.
A swing over, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, instead of trying to be accurate, what you're trying to do is put a shitload of brute force behind it.
Yeah.
And then rip with it.
Yeah. Okay, because I was like,
yeah,
I don't know. That. I don't know if it's a sword. A sword.
I mean, I know.
I'm no expert.
Me just baby.
Actually, it's considered.
Oh no, we're gonna. I mean, if someone in the comments wants to inform us on what type of weapon this would actually be, please let us know. We're ignorant. We're stupid.
Someone's gonna be like, "It's a fake weapon, you dumbasses."
Yeah, it's a made-up world, idiot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Not to be such a dick.
The end of this chapter was excellent for a few reasons. I feel like as far as storytelling, this was very compelling. I like that we're validating Nami's talent here. This moment does well in affirming some character lore. I also just like seeing the chart room itself, seeing all the maps and papers strewn about. And I think it's also somewhat touching that Luffy is intrigued or interested. Like, he's in this room and he's taking it in despite, like, the obvious threat that's right before him. But he's like, oh, shit. He's actually taking the moment in. And I feel like that's something we don't necessarily see a lot of coming from Luffy. And yeah, overall, just these last few pages I thought were excellent. The shot of Luffy's neck resting between the teeth of Arlong's saw on page 18 was really good. Just that, again, a lot of good perspective play. Really, really interesting. And the chapter ended in such a great rise of tension and emotion. Arlong asking Luffy, "Think you can use that girl as well as I do?" Like, what a fucking scumbag. And Luffy reacts exactly the way I wanted him to. Like, the final panel of the chapter perfectly shows how undeniably livid Luffy is upon hearing that. Like, how you can see it all over his face. Like, how dare you use the word use? Like, it's despicable. It's gross.
Like, he knew it, but now he's heard it.
Yeah, exactly. And we kind of get into it a little bit more in the next chapter or two. Arlong is gross. He's gross. Oh. Not just physically, but like, just in his attitude and his possessiveness of Nami, but I'm going to get a little bit more into it during the later chapters. But yeah, really, really great way to end the chapter. And kind of, to me, this is the crest of the climax of that battle. Like, this is where it actually starts. I want to say even in earnest. Like, that's when Luffy's actually pissed off. He's not just fighting for the sake of fighting. He's from that moment on, he's fighting for Nami's.
Fun anymore.
No,
this
is now about defending Nami's honor, right?
My queen.
My queen? He's not a simp. That's not Sanji we're talking about.
Right.
But yeah, just a great way to end the chapter. And then we get to see kind of inside the rooms of the merry-go. And I really like that. That's, like I said, something that we see throughout the rest of the volume, but it feels really cozy and homey to be able to actually see the shots of the insides of the rooms. Yeah, like, it makes me want to be there. It makes me want to be a member of the crew, a member of the Straw Hats. And
you want to eat Sanji's cooking and maybe...
Yeah, and maybe, help him tend to the grove, and then, just chill out with Zoro and snuggle... and watch the stars at night.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's what I had for 92. Dylan?
The destruction of Arlong Park being front and center in the first panel is great.
The masonry.
Yeah, look at all that masonry. Oh my god. Usopp, of course, like, don't you understand what hide means, Luffy? It's like, well, I guess he is the expert on that, so.
Oh.
He's the one to...
Ouch, but also, you're right.
Show me, Usopp, show me the way.
The Gum Gum Shield was an interesting idea, I guess. It worked for him, so not sure how often we'll see that move, but
hopefully, the shield I can live with. It's the net.
Yeah.
It's the net I can't.
And then we got Arlong being the one-trick pony, fucking doing the same move over and over again. And the finger net, yeah, I agree. The finger net's kind of like really creepy because it gives like, I don't know, it gives me like Slender Man vibes too. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't even think about Slender Man. I get that.
Too long to be natural.
Yeah.
Hot dog fingers over here.
But I do love that, like, I'm going fishing. It's like, all right, Luffy, you goober. Anytime he does, like, the perspective shifts, where, like, especially with Luffy's attacks, when it gives you, like, the broad scope and range of how far he's hitting somebody from with his attacks. That's something I always really like. And then when you get the hit to the chest, you really get to see the fact that he's... Because I think we've seen the spear before, but we haven't really understood that, like, he keeps his toes pointed. And these couple panels, like, it feels like it really makes sure to get that point across. And then everybody's like, oh, hell yeah, they did it. And then Luffy's like, is he dead? And then you get the ka-shing. His eyes get all spooky. And it's kind of weird because everyone sees, oh god, he looks different. And then Sanji, for whatever reason, has background knowledge on them. It's like, that's how the fishermen look when they go berserk. Luffy's attack only enraged them. And then it shows the first thing they take a hit from a Gum Gum pistol. That sea monster. And it's like, that's not a fisherman. But I do recognize that as the fish monster that
That is
true.
The first fish monster.
No.
Yeah.
And the fact that Nami's been been working with Arlong for as long as she has, and says, I've never seen eyes like that. It's kind of like an oh fuck moment. It's like, oh shit, she hasn't seen him like this? Oh god.
Yeah.
And also the fact that he's like got him by the hair and he's like swinging him around and stuff, and the way he draws him, just kind of like being all loopy.
It's so goofy.
Yeah, it's so goofy, and I love it.
Goofy Luffy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's accurate, yeah.
And then, Arlong's going into his monologue about racial superiority.
As he's known to do.
Yeah, as he's known to do. I'm surprised I haven't seen that motherfucker goose step once.
Yeah.
Well, he's the leader. He doesn't need to goose step.
Yeah, true. They goose stepped him. But I like it as you see, after he gets thrown, you see the Luffy kind of like stuck amongst the masonry. And I love it. He's just like, hey, you caught me off guard again. I'm not hurt, but he sure is mad. It's like, yeah, he is, buddy. But then Luffy started to do, we're seeing some of like Luffy's strategy against Krieg. When he's doing like the whole monkey thing, he's swinging from rafters. It's the shit-eating grin on Luffy's face in that panel before he grabs the sword. It's like, yep. He's fighting him like he's fighting Krieg again. He's kind of gotten to his stride. He's feeling confident.
He has fun when he's doing it.
Yeah. And the shark soul, it's practicality in the real world. Dumb. Does it look cool? Yes. It is cool. I did also...
That's all that matters.
I like the other swords, too. When I first saw those, I was like, ooh, maybe when they beat him, Zolo's going to get those. And those would be Zolo's new swords.
Well, we do get a lot of sword lore in the latter half of this volume, which I really liked. Yeah, that was good. We'll get to it when we get to it, but yeah.
But like seeing the way Arlong attacks with the sword again really reminded me of like Monster Hunter, because anytime you're using the big weapons, it's like you hit and then you vault yourself with it and hit again, vault yourself with it again. I was like, damn.
Arlong been playing too much Monster Hunter.
I only played like the second or third recent one, but I did play the shit out of it. They can be fun.
Arlong, not Dylan. Not Dillong.
What is it?
Dylon part.
Dillon. I don't like it.
Well, neither do I. Again, the chart room is really, really nice. I do like the layout. It's like, man, if you liked making charts, it's like, that'd be like a cozy little fucking room. That's like, you got a nice little window looking out on the ocean. It's kind of cozy. I mean, I probably wouldn't fucking like it, but if I like charts and shit, yeah, it looks dope.
Dylan, based on your drawing skills, I don't think I'd trust you to make a map for me.
It'll just be like a squiggle. What's that? It's either water or land. I don't know.
We've played a lot of Jackbox with Dylan. Drawing is not his. Yeah. He's a great guy. Listen, he's funny.
We avoid drawing
he's
games
hilarious.
on his behalf.
The drawing games.
So like, hey, let's play a drawing game. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Like, a lot of people are bad at drawing, but it's unique. Like, I can imagine your map just says land, and there's no drawing, water. Actually. It's just words.
Maybe 2 lines.
There's some shit over here. I don't know what it is.
I can't draw it. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, if they invented cameras yet? And then, like, the whole monologue, when he has this, like, Luffy's head in the shark saw, and he's doing the whole monologue, gripping the saw so hard that he is breaking through it. And I was like,
his finger actually digging into the blade. I know. Yeah. It's such a good shot.
Just breaking. It's like, oh man, that next chapter is going to be some ass whoopings. And I'm on board. And then the lounge is nice. And the weird thing, it's like there's no steering wheel. The whip staff for steering is odd, especially since it's inside. Because the whip staff is like,
where do they see from?
Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably a porthole in front of it, but it's like you don't like if you're the one navigating the ship, you want to be able to see all around you. But yeah, that's cool. And
I didn't even think about that.
The whip staff's essentially, if you're like on small boats, it's like when you just hold onto the rudder itself, and then that's what that is, as opposed to a wheel. But on a ship,
would you say this is too big of a ship for a whip staff?
Yeah, normally the reason you use the wheels is because it's the pulley system and everything on it that makes it so you can actually move the rudder. Otherwise, the rudder, like on a Carvel, the rudder should be huge. I imagine it's huge. Yeah, and it's going to be really tough to move on your own. But it's not real.
I imagine there's someone at the top just yelling at the whip staff guy.
It just reminds me of like my dad's tiny ass little fishing boat. With the little motor, like the 15-force motor.
Yep, and
that's the kind of that's exactly I could drive that. I've driven that before.
But yeah, and they have refrigeration, flintlocks, but they haven't figured out like magazines and stuff like that. But they got fridges.
It's run off the power of friendship. That's
that makes sense. Yeah.
We're gonna get into some technology later, and I can't wait.
I love and rainbows and sparkles. But that's all I got for that chapter.
So I love the call out of the first panel, Dylan. I just seen the destruction. I know we've seen it before, but it always just brings me joy. Just seeing, it reminds me of just like a destructible stage in a fighting game as the battle damage. Worms Armageddon.
It reminds you of the scope of what's going on around.
Yeah, the scope. It reminds me of a lot of things. Especially Worms Armageddon as you burrow your little worm into the stage.
We should play.
I think we've talked about Worms
together.
Before.
You love me if I was
own it on Steam.
I also have it. Anyway.
I think I have it too.
I liked the Gum shield, where he stops the thing. We've all seen Hey Arnold here, right?
Yeah.
So Usopp standing in the little hole, just shouting vaguely helpful things through it. All I could think was, "Hole kid's afraid to leave his hole."
I haven't thought about Hole Kid in
Stoop Kid
20 years.
Yeah, then you see Arlong go sicko mode. I don't know that we necessarily see the fruits of that here. Of course, at the end, we get the protagonist and the antagonist chit-chatting up before the, final battle, which if I was to take the time to criticize that, or take the time to criticize any piece of fiction that, uses that as one of their plot devices or whatever, we would be here all day. It's It's everywhere, and especially in mangas. So
That's like a thing of
they're gonna.
it's like all right, no one can see us. Give me a second. Let's talk for a minute. Like, let me get my breath back.
Yeah. So,
time out. No one sees us.
What do you guys do for fun around here?
I mean, it was a nice place till we busted it up. You can fix that though. I got a guy.
Yeah.
There's too much masonry laying around. We're gonna have to fix that.
Just build another one. Just build another one out of the old masonry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Nice
I thought this
pool
chapter
house.
was better than the previous one.
Yeah, for sure.
It was some clever fighting. There was some excellent art. It was just way cooler.
Yeah.
The way everything went down. And it was a great ending. You know, where it ended in the chart room, I thought was really good way to open us up to what's next. And yeah, that's really all I had for 92. You know, it was straightforward. It was an improvement on the previous chapter, and it was good. It was better. 93 will be Dylan.
And then, we thought the one guy was cool, and then we see for the opening chapter. You remember when I said maybe you should cut that hand off because it's an axe?
Well,
You should have done it because you're
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
because doggone it, get it? You got chopped up. Call axe hand Morgan PETA because you just put that dog down.
Oh my god.
Don't make me spit out my whiskey.
But then we open up and we have the conclusion of them gripper strengths. As he just completely eviscerates some of the teeth on the saw. Oh, it's my sword saw. Why'd you do like that?
Bro, you know how much that
What the
was?
fuck, dude? That was a gift.
That was custom made, okay?
And then Arlong again is just well, she is human. It's also understands yeah, you're an inferior species, but she's probably the best cartographer I've ever seen. And then he gives a huge ick line. She's rather like a spirited kitten, a charming one. It's oh, you fucking Discord mod gross boy. I don't like that.
I have a lot of thoughts on this little monologue of his. We'll get into it later, but yeah.
Oh, where's my little charming Discord
Yeah, where are my
kitten?
kittens? Where are my kittens at? It's oh man, I could just smell them.
Oh no! I could smell the neck beard on him.
Yeah, just fucking monster energy, BO, and just disappointment from their parents.
While still
Probably
living
a
in
little
their
bit of
basement.
self-disappointment.
Yeah. It's
Dorito
it's not
powder on the tip of their fingers.
Cheeto dust permanently attached to fingertips. After all that gross and creepiness, he hits with the after all we're shitmates. Part of the part of the crew.
We're Discord mates.
Yeah, you're part of the Discord forever.
That's actually Michael. You're part of this Discord forever.
And you'll never
That's
leave.
me saying that?
Yeah.
And then you cut back out the outside and everyone's oh, what's going on up there? Where are they? They're still inside. Luffy says hits Arlong with the disrespect your surroundings and just starts breaking shit to pieces. Which at first everyone's what the hell? It's a desk and everything. But then Nami sees it. Nami kind of is oh shit. She gets the deeper meaning behind it. And I like how Arlong, he's sitting there breaking everything in the chart room. He's destroying all the maps, destroying everything. And Arlong's kind of sitting there. It's what are you doing? It's he's breaking everything. Why? He's you're not doing anything to stop.
Breaking your stuff.
He's breaking your shit. And you're just kind of letting them.
Letting people abuse my things is my kink, so no kink shaming here.
No, my thing is I don't let people use my stuff. It's because if you break it, you have to go replace it. But if I break it, then it's on me. So
Right.
don't touch
Then
my
I cry myself to sleep.
Don't touch my shit. And then Nami's kind of going through the flashback, which I think is kind of powerful. It's Arlong's this will be your room from now on. Your desk, your pens, everything you need right here. So I think seeing all the destruction of it is her finally being oh my god, he's actually freeing me from it. I'm free of this now. At this point, Arlong's okay, actually, yeah, let me try and stop you now. I'm gonna get involved here. And Luffy's kind of being a little smart boy. He's kind of baiting him into helping him destroy everything because he's got that massive saw. Blast my charts! I just like that line. It's fun.
Blast.
Blast it!
Someone using blast as an expression like that. That's just funny. Blast.
That's funny.
I'm gonna start using that from now on. People are gonna be like, "What do you mean blast? You wouldn't get it."
I don't even get it. You're too young. Kids these days. And then Arlong doesn't get it. It's kind of weird because it's Cursor, you're destroying 8 years of Nami's work. Which coming from Arlong, that was weird to me. I would have, I kind of more expected, you're destroying 8 years of my charts. Screw you. The fact that he start bringing up that it's Nami's work.
That's an interesting point,
that
Dylan.
she's still he's still giving her ownership of those charts.
Yeah, which for him, it feels
strange.
wrong.
But
Yeah.
I feel like he feels like he owns Nami, and by extension, Nami's charts are his. But he still
if there was
relates
one
it.
human. If there's one human who he would acknowledge as a person, I feel like it would be Nami in its own weird, fucked up way.
Yeah.
And then, the top panel, where it's just Nami, like, finally just like, thank you. And, like, tearing up,
so
wearing Luffy's
So
hat.
good.
Like, that's
probably
the panel for the chapter.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And then fucking Luffy, though.
Right?
He's like, I don't care how great the fishermen are. I don't care about sea charts or any of that. And he's still got, like we're talking, this guy's into his collarbone. Reaches back, grabs his nose, fucking snaps it and throws him to the ground with it. It's like, holy shit.
I'm glad he broke that stupid
And I
fucking
fucking hate
nose
his
of all
nose.
the things.
God.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't a punch or a kick. Just
Yeah,
snap.
and then, like, the lines, that stuff doesn't mean anything to me, but I finally figured out how to save her. And it's just the shock and surprise on his the face as the nose, like, gives way. Where it's, oh,
Right.
shit. And I'm kind of half expecting Arnold to stand up, but you broke my nose!
Dylan, you're in my head. I literally have the Dodgeball, The Longest Yard. Me and Dylan watched the same movies growing up.
They're homies.
The problem is this room, she hated being stuck here. I'm going to smash it to smithereens.
So good. So good.
And the fucking, again, he's fucking great with the perspective for Luffy's attacks.
Right?
Gum foot comes smashing out of the top of Arnold Park, masonry flying. And then Arnold kind of has a little bit of a badass moment because he sits there, just grabs his nose and just fucking resets it, which
Jeez, I didn't even think about that.
That's true. Yeah, he kind of like pulls,
It's like, oh god. Get away from those charts. No puny human can bring down Arlong Park. And
That's what you think.
He winds up Shark Tooth Drill, which is a cool looking attack, not gonna lie. Could have used that instead of just darts the whole time.
I keep wanting to say shart darts.
Shark darts?
Shark? Oh, please don't hit me with those shark darts.
That's what you call it after you've had too much chili and you look at your underwear afterwards. Oh, got hit with the shark darts.
Shark darts.
And then he just fucking lays it down with the battle axe. Which even though he does,
Oh, you're not kidding with that perspective,
yeah, he's great.
Like, every panel.
This dude knows how to do the perspective on Luffy's attacks. So make him really hit. And he gets hit by it. He eats the fucking shark tooth drill and then just was like, okay, now I know where you're at. And then just slams him down. And, like, not just slams him down, but, like, slams him, like, to the first floor.
Oh, yeah. It's like I can hear it, like that, you know, like it's powerful. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, hey, I heard you wanted to put in a fire pole, but you didn't have it. Let me give the hole for you. It's gonna be so much fun. And then, like, the shot of Arnold Park where, like you said, like, so that makes you think of, like, hearing him go through each floor and you see the impact marks on it. Just,
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, like, he gets it. He knows how to make you understand what's going on without, like, showing it inherently.
Sometimes.
Yeah, there are moments where it's more confusing. Yeah.
But
like
that's a moment where
kick.
I would be curious to see it in the anime. I would be curious to see how they translated that into actual movement as compared to just drawing. That's one of those moments. The
panel of Arlong actually making contact with the base floor, breaking up what looks to be a pretty nice table.
And maybe some masonry below it.
But maybe it was a table made out of masonry.
That would be cool. A marble table?
I mean, he's a piece of shit. And then you see just Arnold looks fucked. Like, you get the panel just seeing him just mouth agape, teeth missing, busted, stupid nose.
I love it. Gotta break the nose before you finish him. You gotta let him know.
It was such a fucking ugly nose. I fucking hate his nose. I'm glad it's gone.
Luffy's kind of sitting in there. He's kind of like, oh, what's going on? And then you just hear all the onomatopoeias. Clink, clank, clank. And then everyone on the outside, look, the shock was too much. Arnold Park, this is crazy. It's going to collapse. And Nami says, no, fuck that. Luffy's still in there. At this point, Nami's like, nah, that's my captain.
That's my captain.
With his hat still on her head.
Yeah. She can rock that hat, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Looks good on her.
Yeah, she can rock anything.
I mean, yeah.
And then that 2-page spread of the park coming down. Sheesh. Like,
Loosh.
and then just the scream, assuming Nami, of just Luffy, as the building comes to the ground. And that's the chapter, baby. And then we get to see the men's quarter, which, I mean, bro, they've got fucking a coffee table, a nice little sofa, some hammocks.
Like, how good is it for your back to sleep on a hammock every single night, though?
Probably not great.
Like,
but...
I've taken naps in hammocks before, and, like, I'm okay for a couple hours, but if I'm trying to get a full night's sleep, I don't know. I don't know that my crusty 33-year-old ass would be able to handle sleeping on a hammock every night.
Alright, but that's all I got, V.
I had quite a bit for chapter 93. Actually, I was just telling Michael that in our Discord earlier this week that I have a lot of notes for this volume, which surprised me because I thought the big volume with Bellemere's backstory and everything was going to be the one that had the most. But no, this one does have the most notes, but still. Yeah, a little bit of a call out to the intro image story. To me, it seems like, Captain Morgan still has a lot of fight in him. And as Dylan pointed out, maybe they could have done well with getting rid of that axe, and they didn't. And someone's eating it now. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing where that kind of ends up, especially since, and that's something that comes up later in this volume, we do see that the intro image story is canon and comes back into, like, it seems like it loops back into the core story at some point. So, because like we saw it with Buggy, right?
Oh yeah.
So
You're talking.
I'm
yes,
curious.
Yes. I was like, where did you see
but
Garp and Morgan?
We haven't seen them in the real story yet, but we've seen something similar happen with Buggy's story. So I'm expecting that this might come back in the core storyline at this point. Morgan's still a badass in a way. Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts for Arlong's monologue. To me, it comes across as almost romanticizing Nami being held captive. Like, it makes me wonder if he's truly delusional and thinks that Nami somehow wants to be there. He sums it up with, she will want for nothing, and all she has to do is the thing she loves best. After all, we're shipmates. And that just sent shivers down my spine in the worst way. Dylan kind of talked about, like, this screams incel, right? And
very much.
It made me very uncomfortable because to me that's a display of, and I said that when Dylan was talking about it, it's a show of possessiveness, that he sees Nami as being his property. He kind of puts up this front of being, it's like he justifies himself by saying, well, I'm going to provide for her and she's going to want for nothing and everything's going to be just fine and she's going to like it. Even though he's doing that, right, even though he's doing that completely against her will. And that made me very uncomfortable. Like, it sent shivers down my spine in the worst way. It really, really did not sit well with me. And yeah, the next few pages were really captivating to me. Everyone seems relieved that the desks and the charts are falling down from the building. But you can see that Nami is seeing it as something that's much more meaningful than just the destruction of Arlong Park. Like, it means something more to her. Again, super cinematic. It's almost as if I can hear that the sounds are muffled when Nami is lost in her memories, layered on top of the chaos that's happening in the present moment. Like, it's like I said, very, very cinematic. It's a really great bit of storytelling. And at the end, we get a very touching shot of Nami crying at page 10, thanking Luffy while she's still wearing his hat. To me, this is what freedom might look like for her. She's being freed from the shackles of her cartographer duties, in a way. Like, I think that is something that she will continue to do, from her own will and in the circumstances that she chooses. But this is the end of her being tied down and just dominated by Arlong's force and presence in Cocoa Village. Like, this marks the end of that captivity, basically. And then this is quickly followed by an equally expertly drawn shot of Luffy at page 12, who, like, the very top of page 12, who summarizes it really well, and Dylan pointed it out in his review. The problem is this room. She hated being stuck here. I'm going to smash it to smithereens. And that's just... Captain, my captain. Like, he's... For every fault that I see in Luffy, the one thing that I find absolutely admirable is how much he truly cares for his crew and how seriously he takes his role of captain.
Doesn't take a lot seriously.
Right, but that he does. That he truly does. And then, yeah, Dylan touched on it a lot, but Luffy stomping the ever-living fuck out of Arlong over pages 15 and 16 was exactly what I needed. Like, it feels very cathartic. It feels like that's exactly the fate that Arlong deserved. And I just loved it. And again, very, very dynamic, and you can see it, as Dylan pointed out, the impact of that interaction on Arlong Park itself. You could see like the damage and the weight and the integrity of the structure of the building, all of that. That was really, really great. And yeah, I guess the building could not handle it. We see it crumble and basically cave in on itself in this nice 2-page shot at the end of the chapter. I have a little bit of a hot take.
Oh.
Even though I liked it, I feel like the 2-pager could have been a little bit more impressive. Yes. Like, maybe doing it from a different perspective would have just made it extra epic. It's not a bad shot at all, and honestly, I feel like we're a bit spoiled with a few very, very impressive drawings, even in this chapter itself. But for a 2-page spread, I would have wanted just a little bit more, just a little extra, I don't know.
Take accepted.
Just a little extra sprinkle of epicness. And because to me, this is such a significant moment for Nami, for the Straw Hats, for Arlong Park, for Cocoa Village. Like, this is a very important moment. And I feel like just having just the perspective of it being straight ahead feels like it's not appropriate. I would have rather seen it from the bottom up or from the top down. Just like, and the thing is, we know that Oda can do perspective so well that it felt like, I'm not going to say it felt flat, because it didn't. I wanted just a little bit more num. It could have been a little bit more delicious.
I can see that, like, zooming out a bit more from it, so you can kind of more see, like, the grand scale and scope of it.
Yeah,
right.
Alternatively, like, maybe a shot of the other people looking up as it's coming down.
Right.
There's a number of, I hear you and I agree.
Right. And because I feel like I said, it is such a significant moment that I feel like it deserved just a little bit more than what was given to us. Yeah. So that was that was my hot take. And just quickly about the SBS, always happy to see more of the insides of the rooms. Shout out to the grog cask. We see it in basically every other room in the merry-go. But yeah, that's what I had for 93.
Okay, so we start off with a little bit more yapping. You know, the two big guys got to get their words in before they finish things here. And seeing Luffy tear the room to pieces was absolutely, V took the words out of my mouth, cathartic. It was such a perfect way to finish this, to destroy the room that was so oppressive to his navigator. So it was funny seeing Johnny and Yosaku have a little dispute over what was happening.
You mean not Johnny?
Yes, Johnny and not Johnny. They're like, it's just a desk. Like, clearly the significance is lost on them. It's certainly not lost on Nami. I just thought it was a funny little perspective there.
Which I think adds a bit of more power to the fact that Nami's seeing him react the way she does.
Yeah.
Definitely. Also loved Luffy breaking Arlong's nose before he puts the axe down here. And then seeing Arlong get fucking stomped was so perfect. It was just such a great action sequence here. On page 50.
It does make me very curious to see it animated.
Yes.
And just real quick before you move on, Michael, to that point, I feel like stomping someone into the ground, literally, is
kind of
almost humiliating. And I feel like that's exactly what Arlong deserves, because I feel like in his holding of Nami, he has humiliated her, and now it is his turn to be humiliated. So I feel like that was it was a really great way to kind of mark the end of Arlong, so to speak.
It was satisfying, and I loved it. I did note here that the palace was such an imposing landmark, since it was introduced. It was always kind of big and in the background, and it was like towering over everything in a very symbolic, or it felt symbolic to me. And the focus on its destruction here as part of this last sequence, I thought was a really great choice by Oda. It's just a ton of great art throughout this battle here. Lots of good stuff. I also want to point out on page 15 at the top left, Luffy's face is so mindless and like full of rage, and it's like so perfect. It's such a small panel.
It's pure anger.
Yeah. His eyes are twisted. His mouth is wide open. He's putting everything into this stomp. And then the next panel is the stomp, the beginning of the stomp. And it was just...
Stomp the yard right there. That's the inspiration.
Sorry? I didn't hear you.
Say stomp the yard. That's where the inspiration came from.
But yeah, the 2-page spread was good, not great. I also noted that. So, just another step towards greatness. Each chapter so far has gotten better than the last. I think we started off a little flat. And yeah, it set a new high mark, I think, for combat and action chapters for me. Excellent art.
I would agree.
Excellent action and an emotional ending. It really tied everything that has come before together here. So, with that, and I could not think of a better person to do the beginning of 94 than V.
Okay, I'm flattered. I don't know why you said that, but I'm flattered nonetheless.
think about who's our first focus in 94 and what he does. So
that's well, yes, I've noted it. Well, I'm going to start off with the intro image.
Love it.
I loved the intro image. To me, that showed everything that I want for them. I want them to have a party. They deserve a party. I want to see Genzo with his pine up. I want to see Luffy. I think it's Luffy jumping in the background.
I think so.
I want to see Nami with this big, unapologetic smile. Like this is what they deserve after everything that they've gone through, especially Nami. Just a really wholesome kind of snippet of what I feel like they need, considering everything that has happened. It's funny that just last episode, Dylan had mentioned Zoro seemingly just needing a little nap to recover from massive injuries. And we start this chapter
what the deal is.
with Zoro waking up from a nap, being like, oh, what's all the ruckus? I was having such a good sleep. But yeah, there's something with that guy. And I think further on, I don't know if it's in this chapter or the next, but like it is pointed out that this is not normal. Yeah. That a human being should not be recovering
by masonry to his wounds. Like all his wounds are in center mass.
That's true. It's just like the thud right in the stomach. Ow. But he's still alive? Question mark. Somehow. I love you, Zoro. That shot at page 4 of Luffy emerging from the ruins of Arlong Park with the sun over his shoulder. His face is hidden in the shadow of his own body with the blood dripping down his fist. That was it. That was the victorious shot. That is, I have done it. That is, like... I have a lot of different thoughts on Luffy. Sometimes I love him. Sometimes I'm like, okay. But this is he has done everything that he could for his crew, for his navigator, and he's emerging from it victorious. Not unscathed, but he doesn't care that he's been harmed in the process. He has done it, and that's just such a good moment. It was just, chef's kiss. I had a little bit of a chuckle at Johnny and not Johnny's emotional cries being translated as Brother Luffy. I thought that was really funny. And just, oh man, Luffy saying, Nami, you're one of us now. My heart.
You can never leave. No.
My heart. Well, no, it's not the same thing. We're gonna give you
everything you need.
It's not the same thing, and we kind of see it a little bit further on that he lets her be her, but he's now saying, like, I have freed you from this, and now you are free to be with us if that's what you want. Like, you're our family now. And yeah, that made me emotional. Like, the juxtaposition of the different images over pages 6 and 7 was really powerful and kind of fed into that emotion. Like, first we see the close-up of Luffy's face. Then we see Arlong's beaten body just under him, followed by, like, Nami's happy, teary face at the top of page 7. And then just the shouts of victory being felt across the villagers as they exclaim that Arlong Park has fallen.
Oh, chills.
Like, again, that's what I mean with, like, cinematic. This is cinematic. This is just a perfect series of panels over those 2 pages. Like, this was a treat for me. Just so good. I got actually so annoyed when I realized that Nezumi hadn't just fucked off and died. Yeah. I kind of hoped that that's what was going to happen. But Zoro and Nami took care of giving him the beating that he deserved. I like how Zoro got him to the ground and tag teamed it with Nami, who had every fucking reason to want to see him be destroyed. Yeah.
The fact that he walks away from that is a testament to their restraint.
Exactly. And in that kind of a series of events that happens over those next few pages, I have just a couple of shout outs. The first is at the bottom of page 10 when Nami quietly puts the straw hat back on Luffy's head. Like, to me, it's like she's able to stand on her own 2 feet again. No relation to the Stain song.
I don't think anyone thought that, but go on.
I did. But yeah, like she's able to stand by herself again while still being very much attached to the Straw Hats. And the other shout out is to Genzo at the bottom of page 11 when he says, "Hit him 1,000 times more." Like, he's so angry. He's like, "Come on, fucking destroy him.
Kill him."
Yeah. Basically, that's basically what he says. Yeah. The gladiator thumbs down. I have no doubt that we'll see Nezumi again, but for now, I relish in his defeat. Very happy to see him with broken teeth.
You see Nezumi again in this volume.
Do we? Yes.
Oh,
yes, we do.
Right.
Yeah, we do.
Being a little bitch.
Yeah, being a little bitch.
This guy beat me. And we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. And I like at the very top of page 13, we see all the 4 boys' different reactions to Nezumi uttering his threats as he leaves. It's very them, like Luffy saying something to the effect of, "I'm gonna be the king of the pirates." Zoro calling him out, being like, "That's not it, you fucking idiot." And then Usopp being like, but what if something terrible really happens?" It's very, very the boys. And then, yeah, we have this kind of return to normalcy with a very heartwarming moment at Belmar's grave. I have thoughts on Belmar's grave a little. I think it's next chapter, but we're going to talk about that when we get to that. No one is surprised to find out that Nami is a little bit of a brat also, when she says, when Genzo says, "Would you have listened if she tried to stop you?" And she says, "Absolutely not," with the tongue pulled out. I'm like, yeah, I mean, same. I get it.
No one tells her what to do.
No, exactly. And I can respect that. And again, Dylan has kind of been the guy that carried that theory through, but even Sanji thinks that it's weird that Zoro recovers really fast from his injuries, which is...
There's gotta be something to it.
Yeah, he states at the top of page 15, like, it's crazy that he can even move. Like, it is crazy. It's weird. There's something... It's weird. And then mid-page 15 is also very telling of the kind of crew that Luffy wants to assemble. Like, who needs a doctor when you can have a musician, right? Because, of course, pirates sing, don't they? Like, Luffy's lack of forethought can be adorable and concerning all at once. Also, I had a note here. Telesnails? What? I am confuzzled.
Oh, yeah.
About the telesnails. I don't know how they work, and I don't know that I want to find out how they work. But apparently, that is a means of communication.
They have refrigeration, but they do not.
And telesnails. Make that make sense. It is kind of funny. I love the drawing, how the telesnails are drawn throughout the next couple of pages. I thought that was funny. And then we end the chapter with Nezumi basically stating that Luffy is part of the FBI's most wanted. You know, he's like the one guy. And my only thought was, fucking come at them, bro. Like, let's see you fucking try. And I feel like I might regret these words at some point, but the victory we just saw against Arlong had me feel a little bit more gutsy. Like, yeah, let's see you try, and let's see how that ends.
V's got her big balls on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
opposed to the tiny ones that were
my teeny little. Anyway, we don't need to talk about my proverbial testicles.
Yes. Interchangeable testes.
That's what I had for 94. Dylan?
Yeah. The start, like the opening cover art. Those dudes are going buck wild. Like, drinking and climbing palm trees that tall is not a good idea.
Well,
hey, listen.
They're not necessarily known for their good ideas. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna say.
And the jump I definitely think of is Luffy. I definitely think that. And Usopp has got to be the guy that right, because that schnoz and the little bag he has hanging from him.
Must be. I didn't even look at the little silhouettes, but yeah.
I'm assuming just because we've seen Zolo sprawled out that way several times, I'm assuming he's the guy on top of the cabana, just kind of like chilling out.
Maybe.
And I guess it would be because you've seen him like that. I've seen him in that pose several times.
Yeah, we have.
He lets it hang loose.
I guess maybe Sanji's on the other tree. I don't know.
There's more people there than there are Straw Hats, so.
That's true.
Yeah, but you figure all the ones that are up higher
are going to be
the Straw Hats. Because your eyes drawn to them. And I like how Genzo's wearing a Hawaiian shirt now. It's like, now I get to be the perpetually chill dude. Zolo just taking a nap and then taking masonry right across the debilitating wound across his chest. And the way he wakes up, it looks like more like he's woken up with a hangover
right?
than anything else. It's
like, I've woken up like that before.
Why is it so loud? And then it's kind of cool. You get the little bit of like, everyone's like, oh my god, what happened? Did we win? And then the great shot of Luffy, you brought it up, V. And my thing is, like, I thought about it, it's like, that's like one of those inspirational posters, except underneath it just says grit.
Just grit.
I would buy that and hang that on ironically. But yeah, just a lot of great just like scenery shots in this chapter. It's super powerful. It's like, Nami, you're one of us. Speaks volumes. And just like the fact that Nami's sitting there crying. Yeah, that was good. I was like, oh. Usopp's like, we won. I wanted to be like, what's this we shit, Kimasabi?
He helped.
I mean, you killed one.
No, he said he won.
Oh.
Okay, never mind. All right. You get a pass this time, Usopp.
But Dylan's ready. Don't shoot slip up.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
helped.
Fucking tried again.
Not with Arlong, but he did help.
And then I love like them in the water, and then like Sanji's like, he did it, Nojiko, he won. I was like hugging at air because Nojiko just dodged him. And like I'm starting to see like it's been brought up to me a couple times. Like Sanji's really cool, but he's like fucking mega simp, and it's a little cringe most of the time. I'm starting to see it's just fight stuff. Stop chasing women. It's weird. And then oh god, yeah, fucking stupid Captain Nezumi or whatever, Mouse Man. It's like how he's going through his whole monologue thing, and just like Zolo appears out of nowhere and has him by the back of the head. We're celebrating our victory. Don't be a wet blanket. And then again with Nami, just like no words spoken, putting the hat back on is another really, really powerful panel. And Nami at this point is like, she's setting the terms. She's like, all right, well now you're gonna help clean up the fishmen. You're gonna rebuild Goza Village. You're not getting any of the treasure from Arlong Park. And while we're at it, give me my fucking money back.
Give me my fucking money.
And she's like, okay, you can have it.
And she's like pulling at his like mustache or his whiskers at the same time.
Yeah.
So good.
And after like all this and getting his like ass kicked and everything, he still has the gall to be like, I won't forget this. You're gonna suffer my wrath. It's like, what? No, we're not. We've proven that we won't.
Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah, and then like you said, the boys are just like, what? God, this guy's really dumb. Yeah. Usopp's a little shook up because it's Usopp.
Well,
And then I kind of like the next panel where it's like, who would have imagined we'd be saved by pirates? And the doctor's like, you never know. And just like the guys in the background, and you just kind of see them like, I don't know, it's just the way it's drawn, and just like they're kind of just like chopping it up,
dapping each other up, like, bruh.
Yeah, just like, yeah, dude, Luffy's stupid, Usopp, you're a pussy. The panel underneath it, where it's like, everyone's like, oh, what are we doing? Just standing here. Let's go party. Let everybody know what's going down. Hell yeah. And then the scene at the grave is Nami to a fucking T, like V had said. It's like, oh, do you think your mom would like you being a pirate? Would you listen to her if she didn't? It's like, nah. And again, with the Zolo stuff. And I love how, like, Johnny and not Johnny are just, like, napping in the background. Just knocked out in the beds. But, like, the whole thing, it's like, how, like, that's a wound that would take someone 2 years to recover from. And at this point, it just looks like he's just getting, like, minor stitches put in. I'm still very, very, very curious about, like, why he heals as rapidly as he does. Considering he doesn't have any devil fruit or anything that I know of, it seems odd.
I don't know that we've seen him swimming.
But it's just like, why would just a regular person be able to, like, have Wolverine-esque fucking healing levels?
The boy ain't normal.
Yeah.
Tell you what.
And then, like, I also thought it was kind of like the two panels at the bottom. I thought it's kind of another powerful thing where Genzo's just laughing. And she goes, like, what's up? And it's like, I just can't help laughing. There's no doubt about it. You're her daughters.
Yeah.
Like, to a T. It's like, oh. And then Captain Izumi throwing a little temper tantrum over the phone. I like how the other guy's like, you don't need to shout. I can hear you.
Over the telesnail?
Yeah.
Which they are both phones, fax machines, scanners.
Yeah, and and there's cameras too, because they just have a picture of Luffy. But now, like, I know you've said, like, a couple times, like, while we're reading, it's like this volume's kind of like One Piece becomes One Piece. Like, and I kind of seeing that where it's like now the Straw Hat Pirates are known around the world. Now they're not just some little ragtag group that shows up and people are like, oh, who the fuck are you? Now it's an all points bulletin worldwide has been put out. Watch out for the Straw Hat Pirates. That's a nice way to end that. I liked that ending. It's like, ooh, okay, what are we getting into next?
Yeah.
And the storeroom in the SBS, the storeroom battery deck, which is kind of cool. I haven't seen how it's all laid out. And also, I thought it was kind of cool. It shows how the whip staff actually attaches to the rudder at the roof there.
That is a nice little detail, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, good chapter. That's all I got.
So I also loved the cover page. We're going to have a party, and Zoro getting that nice little detailed dark gray treatment as he's awoken by falling masonry was chef's kiss. So we've mentioned it a couple times. Arlong's not quite papering the walls of Arlong Park, but there are bits and pieces of him, I think, around, so close enough, right? And I also wrote, now piss on the rubble. Anyone, everyone, the whole town.
Yeah. Communal piss pot.
Yeah, have a little piss party.
Oh, God.
I don't like where this is going.
Yes, the Nezumi scene, like, get shit on.
Yeah,
fucking
honestly.
Dickhead.
Fucking nerd.
Yeah. He thought he was something, and then got immediately proven wrong. His crew didn't do nothing to help him, neither.
I didn't get a chance. Lo came to beat some ass.
He's just so gross and slimy, and ugh.
And it was so funny seeing Usopp stressed over Nezumi. Like, yes, all of the Straw Hats got their little signature comments in there, but just Usopp's was just so Usopp.
But what if it's actually true?
The scene in the doctor's room where Zoro's getting stitched up and Luffy's like, or someone says, we need a doctor, and Luffy's like, or a musician, right?
Right.
Musician first. It's like, that's my captain.
Yeah. That's my guy.
Sign me up. I'm your shanty man.
But yeah, I thought that was just so funny and so in character and just a fun little, is it slice of life? I don't know, but it was good. And then we get what I think is one of our first looks at the world at large. Have we had many, besides like people talking and it being a flashback or a flash away, have we ever seen a scene from another place? That I can't remember one.
That we haven't like currently been inactive at? No.
That we've read thus yet.
I don't think so.
Yeah, because the setting's always been rooted where the story's taking place.
Yeah, right.
Yes. And that is again, this is where I think One Piece really becomes One Piece, because we get a good bit of that. Again, the majority of the story is going to focus around our Straw Hats, of course. But I always found it to be a treat when we get to see what's happening somewhere else or with someone else. And this was no different. We get to see some really One Piece stuff pop pop out here. We get our first bounty, which is a reoccurring thing. People talk about bounties, and they've kind of referred to it a little bit before, but you see it, and now it's, a part of the Straw Hats.
Well, we know of a few bounty hunters, right? Like
Exactly.
Johnny and Yoshi. I mean, Johnny and not Johnny are bounty hunters, and I think Zorro
was beforehand.
a bounty hunter. So we've dabbled, but this is the first this is the first bounty on their head.
Oh yeah,
right?
And it's huge.
It's a big one.
It's the biggest one so far, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Because I don't think he's more than.
That's what I mean. Like FBI's most wanted is Luffy at this point.
The telesnails are something that I particularly love. I have always loved telesnails, and that is another one of those reoccurring One Piece bits. You're going to see more telesnails. Spoiler alert. I don't think that's anything super groundbreaking here.
Did we get snail phones?
That was a snail phone. He was using it to communicate.
Snail phones.
You mean like a portable one?
Yeah, like a cell phone, but a snail.
And it just like lashes onto the side of your head and...
Yeah. I don't want it more.
One of our friends, low comment Erica, one of her favorite things, she's not a One Piece fan or anything, but one of her favorite things, and she's well aware of the telesnails. She likes it a lot. And they are often called Din Din Mushi. I think that's just like the Japanese version.
Din Din Mushi.
Yeah, I don't know what it translates into. Maybe telesnail. But yeah, I thought this was a lovely way to wind down the Cocoa Village saga here. They also introduced some awesome staples of the One Piece universe. Again, things that make it truly One Piece. And yeah, it's just a great chapter, top to bottom. I thought that it was extremely well executed and had a lot going on. It was one of my most heavily notated chapters. And 95 will be Dylan.
The opening artwork, pretty funny. Morgan holding his son hostage. Which I don't know why the Marines are like,
yeah,
all right, go ahead, kill him. We don't care.
I feel like he would do it.
I think he would too.
He doesn't give a fuck about that kid.
He's like, you've never hit me before. It's like, because you're not worth the time, you little shit. But I love the opening of the chapter. It's like, night fell at last, the sea was calm once more. The whole island celebrated that night and continued on to the following night.
Yeah. Everyone
was living for the moment. Everyone lived to laugh. I liked that a lot. It's like, all right, yeah. Because, I mean, there's been, it's been brought up a lot of time. It's like the ability to just laugh with a gusto and abandon and just, not care about anything and just live in the moment has been a reoccurring theme.
A luxury. If you're able to do that, then things are all right.
And the fact that it's this place has been so, under an iron rule for 8 years with no hope, and the fact that they can cut this kind of loose is... It's great. And of course, Luffy's going absolutely hog wild in the food. Comes up to Sanji holding 10 pieces of meat on a bone. And it's just I was like, hey, you're eating that melon with something on top of it. What was it? What was the deal? And I was like, yeah, it was prosciutto.
I have notes on
prosciutto
that.
Melon. Yeah, he's like, prosciutto melon, where'd you get this? I don't know, it's a party. He's like, well, I'm going to go find more. And I love Sanji's I've had my fill of food. Now I'm going to find me a girl. And goes running off.
Freaking Sanji.
It's like, all right, Sanji. And then, of course, fucking Zolo's asleep again.
He's still recovering, okay?
He's probably drunk as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know how good alcohol is for his wounds, but that's okay.
And then, of course, Usopp's up there acting like he...
single-handedly beat Arlong.
Like he's the captain.
He's like, yeah. That's how I brought down the fisherman. I'm Captain Usopp. Now I'm gonna sing. Even though everyone was there and watched it happen.
Everyone knows.
Oh yeah, I want his autograph. Yeah,
right.
This guy's awesome. And then Genzo, back at the gravesite, pouring one out for the homie.
Yeah.
Well, Mary, your daughters have grown into wonderful, strong young women. Looking at them, it's almost like seeing you alive again. From now on, we're gonna make the most of our lives. That was a powerful page.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that was a really good page.
And he's still having his moment, and then out of nowhere, just prosciutto and ham.
Freaking Luffy.
He turns around and he's like, what are you talking? There's no food here. What the hell's going on?
Hey, man, I'm having a
like,
moment.
Fuck this, I'm going back. He's like, fuck this, I'm going back.
He's like, wait.
And the guy's just he's like, hold on 1 minute. Of course, fucking Luffy, the idiot, it's a grave, somebody died. It's like, yeah, that's what graves are there for. When then Genzo lays it down, pretty much it's like, if you do anything at all to hurt Nami, I will kill you. And Luffy's like, well, I wouldn't do anything. Genzo cuts him off and he's like, you get me? You feel me,
dog?
Are
you listening to the words I am saying?
And fucking Luffy with 2 bones in his mouth. I understand. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then there's partying going on, and then I don't know what the dance is. I mean, Johnny looks like he's sweeping some women off her feet in that panel. And not Johnny's just, I don't know,
I think he's dancing with a basket?
Yeah, it's perpetual dude who can't dance.
It's like a catcher's glove or something.
Yeah, and it's just like violently shoving it back and forth. It's like, I'm painting for gold, baby!
Oh, he's doing the dice thing too much.
Yeah, he says, yeah, he needs to take that back. And it was like, those two sure can dance. Song number 6, Usopp's Chair. It's like, oh, God. I never want to hear that song. But then we got everybody up in the beat. I like the panel of the morning of the departure. Because we're starting to see, like, the cabanas are back out, the beach chairs are back. It seems like they've adjusted back to their life beforehand. Because when Usopp first showed up, it looked like a really touristy beach, and now it's starting to look that way again. But you get a great shot of the merry-go. And Johnny and not Johnny are like, oh, well, we're going back to just being bounty hunters. Like, maybe we'll see you again someday. It's like, all right, guys.
We've done our 2 arcs.
Yeah, it's like, have fun. And then everybody's kind of waiting on the boat, and it's like, well, she's not here. Maybe she's not coming. And Sanji's always like, no, she's not coming. What do you mean? My queen. And Luffy's just pissed off. He's like, there wasn't any prosciutto anywhere. How dare you?
He's so upset.
And then we kind of find out that she's leaving all the money to the village, which is also nice. And they're like, well, she need that money? And then she could kind of hit it on the head. It's like, she'll just steal some more. And it's like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
She does.
And then you just hear, set sail now. And Nami just hits a full sprint. And I guess leaves on her own terms. Saying goodbye is hard, so she decides not to.
Oh, good old Irish goodbye. The good old Cocoa Village goodbye.
Hey, you see that over there? Just runs away. I love the fact at the end, it's like, everyone's like, oh, you can't leave us like that. How can you do that? No, we love you so much. And then she kind of like lifts up her shirt and shakes out everybody's wallets. And they're like, oh, God damn it, she took all my fucking money.
Classic Nami.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what you get from it. You get a cross-section of all of the straw hats. Usopp's like, that bitch. She just hasn't changed at all. Zolo's kind of like, she's going to double-cross us again. Sanji being a simp. Luffy just laughing his ass off. But yeah, the send-off is just great. Then it's the flashback. Nami just crying as a baby. And Belmare's like, oh, you're too scary. Like, you're too scary. Stay away from her. You're like, she's going to keep crying. And it's like, no, I did this. And that puts the pinwheel in it. And as soon as she sees the pinwheel, she starts laughing her ass off.
Kept it there to this day.
Yep, and the fact that he put it on Belmare's grave with the tangerine.
I know.
That was like, that's like such like a powerful conclusion. Such a really powerful conclusion to this whole like little saga.
Yeah.
And I thought like if you're going to do it, that was the way to do it. But yeah, that's all I got. And also on the SBS, the women's quarters look a lot nicer. Wow. And I guess, it's just Nami's.
Are a lot nicer.
I work in a restaurant. Sometimes I go to the women's room. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, ew. But yeah.
Yes. So, first off, I feel like even when I first started reading the chapter, not knowing the way the chapter ends, the title of it instantly caught me. Spin Pinwheel. I thought that was very cute, and I've really come to love Genzo as a leader. I know I mentioned that in the previous episode, but that's even more true now. And then, yeah, a little bit of a highlight to Axhan Morgan threatening to kill his own son. I'm not going to stop him. If that's what he wants to do, he can go right ahead. I'm not going to shed any tears for Helmeppo. That's all I'm going to say about
Every parent's right.
Right. Exactly. I brought you into this world. I can take you out. Yeah, also, I'm very happy that we're getting that party. It's been a long time coming. I can only imagine how freeing this must be after all this time under Arlong's tyrannical rule. I think arguably we can say that it was a tyranny. And then, yeah, so we did mention a little bit of the slice of life vibes. I feel like the party does come with a lot of those vibes. We've been through a few tense volumes, and it's nice to finally get a little bit of reprieve. We see Luffy eating, Zoro drinking, Sanji gonna chase some tail, and Usopp just being Usopp, you know? And so I did note a little bit of a foodie moment here. For the record, prosciutto and melon is absolutely delicious. It's a little bit of a classic family gathering appetizer in my family, and it's one of my favorites. Just the the salty cured meat around the juicy sweet piece of melon is absolutely wonderful. No, so prosciutto isn't cooked. Prosciutto is cured meat, so it's salted dried meat.
When you combine it, if it was
the melon is served fresh, And we usually use, in my family, we use cantaloupe for that more specifically. And I love it. So when I saw that, I was like, heck yeah, they know what's good. They fucking know what's good. Anyway, definitely try it. Prosciutto and cantaloupe. Delicious. I really liked seeing Genzo share a little bit of a private moment with Belmer's grave and, pouring one out for her over pages 4 and 5. I don't know if they were ever romantically involved, but regardless, I feel like Genzo has acted as a little bit of a father figure of sorts for Nami and Nojiko, and it's only normal that he would want to celebrate and reminisce with their maternal figure, regardless of whether or not they were ever romantically involved. I think it's they both served as a parental role in the girls' lives, and it's this was a nice little highlight of that. And then, Luffy's arrival at the gravesite was hilarious. He just stumbled there totally by mistake, driven by his unrelenting hunger. And he obviously does not realize that he has interrupted a moment, right? He's interrupted someone's moment and he just does not know. And I don't know that he cares to know. And, condolences is a hard word, especially in English. Like, as someone who has had to learn that word as a second language, like, we have the same word in French, but it doesn't... Condoléances. It feels a lot easier for me to say it in French, condoléances, as opposed to condolences. Condolences feels clunky. So I'm right there with Luffy for that one, I gotta say. And then, just as I said a little bit earlier, Genzo truly gives off dad vibes, and I feel like that's also very clear.
But not daddy vibes.
No, dad vibes. Just dad vibes. And I feel like that really is clear to me in his interaction with Luffy. Saying that if you guys do anything to make her unhappy, I'll kill you. That's a dad thing to say, right? And I can appreciate that. Yeah, and I really liked seeing Nojiko and Chabo making up. I thought that was wholesome. We met both of these characters in a moment where they were both struggling and fighting for their lives and trying to survive. And now we're seeing them kind of bond in a more natural, normal, and healthy way. And I thought that was very cute. There's an interesting analogy to observe here at page 8 in Nami's interaction with the doctor. And I'm going to get a little bit in my psychology background. Trauma is like a scar. It never completely leaves you. There are some days where you forget about it entirely. And there are days where it feels like that's all you can notice. And it's almost as if you have a phantom pain lingering around, but you learn to live with it. And you can turn it into something beautiful and something productive and something that's...
That's beautiful, V.
But I
like it.
I feel like that was a really good display of that because she literally has a scar that is a result of her trauma and she's making something beautiful out of it. And I feel like that's something inspiring and that's something that other people can learn from and embrace. And it's not to say that it's easy to live with trauma or with scars, but it's to say that you can take it back. You can take ownership of your trauma and make it your own and let it be something that is a painful reminder of what you've been through, but something that is kind of a testament to how far people have grown. And I feel like this is what we're seeing with Nami here. And, at that point, I was curious to see what Nami's tattoo is going to be. And then we do see that a little bit later on in this chapter. Yeah, I had a little bit of a tug at my heartstrings when we see Johnny and not Johnny take their leave. All jokes aside, I feel like Johnny and Yosaku have been really good supporting characters. I'm looking forward to seeing them again. I think they've kind of been the hype men of the Straw Hats, if that makes sense.
No better hype men out there.
Right,
that I can
exactly.
think of.
And I'm looking forward to seeing where they go and how we are going to be reintroduced to them because I'm positive that they'll come back. I don't know in what capacity. I can also appreciate that Luffy doesn't question Nami's choice of leaving as quickly as she can. To me, this is a sign, and I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, this is a sign of a supportive captain. And what he says at page 14, I feel, shows it very well when he says she should leave the way she wants. I kind of touched on it a little bit in the previous chapter where, yeah, now she's part of the Straw Hats, but he's still fully aware that she is her own person and that she will do things the way she wants to do them. And that was his first kind of gift to her, I want to say, in a way, that, you know, as a Straw Hat, she can take her leave the way she sees fit. And he's not going to question it. He's going to go with it, and he's going to give her the room that she needs to be her own person. And the way she wants to leave, apparently, is without goodbyes and a lot of wallets. And that's okay. You know, that's Nami. That's Nami for you. And, yeah, the ending did something for me. It was a beautiful way to end the story arc. It was honestly so touching. And again, cinematic. Kind of wrapping everything up in a bow. The reveal of Nami's tattoo to commemorate Belle-Mère and Genzo, and to me, by extension, Cocoa Village, like what Cocoa Village represents to her. The story behind Genzo's pinwheel, and then seeing it in the ground beside Belle-Mère's cross alongside a tangerine. It was just beautiful. That very last panel was amazing. And just with the caption, the skies are clear and the winds are fair and the pinwheel merrily spins. Like,
it's the bow on it right there.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. That was it for me for chapter 95. Just a great way to wrap everything up.
Yeah, I don't think I could say anything any better than the two of you have. I really enjoyed Luffy being Luffy. I enjoyed Sanji being Sanji, Zoro being Zoro, and Usopp being Usopp. I feel like everyone got a little room to breathe. Certainly Luffy got a little bit more. This chapter wasn't...
he's the captain.
Oh, yeah. But this chapter wasn't about them. It wasn't about the Straw Hats. It was about Cocoa Village and their life now.
And their recovery, in a way.
Yes, exactly. I think VU really opened my eyes kind of to the whole like representation of the tattoo and everything. That makes a lot of sense, and looking back on it through that kind of lens really makes it hit a little bit even harder than I think I would ever have even thought of. Love seeing Nojiko be Nojiko. It did tug at my heartstrings too, seeing Johnny and Yosuke and not Johnny say goodbye. They were great supporting cast, we'll agree with that. The reveal of the tattoo was super sweet, super cute, and of course all the stuff with Genzo and the grave and the pinwheel was very, very good way to just wrap all of this up, and I loved it. I feel like the ending where Nami is leaving on her own terms was fine. It was a little corny. I felt like, and that's fine. It's allowed to be a little corny.
It was corny, but they're allowed to be a little corny. Just a sprinkle of corniness.
Yeah. But just in conclusion, it was a very sweet chapter, very heartfelt, very fun. It really did all of that so well. And I feel like after what we read in Volume 9, volume titled Tears, this was the only way that you could wrap this up. I can't imagine there being a better way to wrap things up besides the corniness, but again, we'll allow it. I maybe would have liked to see a little bit more Nami in this, but you know what? Letting the other characters breathe too was great. And again, that's me maybe nitpicking here for something that doesn't need to be nitpicked. Great. Loved it. And chapter 96 will be V. But yeah, whenever you're ready, V. Oh, I skipped over it in my notes, but in my notes for the last chapter, I wrote prosciutto and melon. Ew, sounds like a French Canadian thing.
It's delicious. It's really good. It's really good, guys. I promise.
That's yucky.
Okay, chapter 96.
One of my favorite chapters of all.
To me, this felt like a transition chapter, but a good transition chapter, because I feel like previously some of the transition chapters fell a little flat because I felt like maybe they didn't have enough action or they didn't have enough like character building, but this one nailed it. First off, just seeing Captain Morgan holding Helmeppo and the axe and it was just an epic little intro shot at that intro image storyline that we're seeing.
Morgan's foot is backwards. On his right foot, his big toe is on the outside.
It looks like that. Maybe he
That's
just has a
not-
He
really...
just has really big toe.
Yeah, he could have
Maybe
some
he
fat
just
little
has a
grippers.
really fat pinky toe. Why are you paying
Not toe
attention to
shaming
his...
here.
Yeah, why are you paying attention to his feet?
I'm doing it for Michael. I was like, hey man, foot
Thank
shots.
you,
Pay
Dan. I
attention to
needed
this.
that.
I liked seeing the behavior of the Straw Hats as a united whole, as a united team on the ship. I feel like this is maybe the first time that we really get any sort of insight on how they behave as a crew. And to me, that was very refreshing, and it was nice to see. You know, we started off with Nami's interaction with the bird, the delivery bird, so to speak, that delivers the newspaper. I thought that was a nice kind of setting the pace of this environment, and also kind of establishing what the roles are on the merry-go. Usopp's hot sauce mishap was really funny to me when he says anyone who gets this in his eyes won't stand a chance, and then he proceeds with getting a whole bottle's worth right in his eyeballs. I was like, okay, Usopp, you know what? Leave the cooking to Sanji. But Sanji's too busy being a fucking simp, I guess. And Nami knows exactly how to play him. You know, saying, oh, thank you. Because he's taking care of the grove. But also not giving a shit because she's reading the newspaper.
She said his name.
Oh my god, you said my name. And I like that Nami, to me, Nami is growing into a character that has a lot more depth than I thought she did at first. Like, she's clearly a smart woman. She's well-read. She's manipulative. But I don't hate that about her. I think sometimes you just have to do your thing to get what you want. But I feel like, you know, what we just saw happen with the Straw Hats, kind of solidifies the fact that she actually does care about them. She's not with them just because it's not just a means to an end anymore. She actually wants to be with them now, but she keeps a little bit of that edge to her, which I can sincerely appreciate. And then, yeah, we get a little bit of the well, what we know now is the I think it's the bounty page that falls out of the newspaper, and everyone sees it and they're like, holy shit. And that brings it brings their little peaceful moment to an end, and I feel like that peaceful moment was fairly short-lived, all things considered. They're like, oh, we just got out of this super dangerous thing, and now we see that there's a bounty on Luffy's head for, what is it, 30 million berries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't see the confirmation of that until a little bit later in the chapter, but that's what it is. The bottom of page 6, speaking of the bounty, the bottom of page 6, to me, was very funny. You know, you have Commander Brand New solemnly saying, we must nip this evil in the bud before it spreads. And all you see is the poster of Luffy's, like, big grinning face. Like, with
It is a good juxtaposition,
it's so funny, like, how epic and seriously it's being taken. Meanwhile, Luffy's just being Luffy.
Being a goof.
I know. What a goober. And it's just, so they're a crew of 5. And they have a literal army after them. Like, they're special. They truly are special. And as Nami mentions, the implications of that are very concerning. And I don't think that the boys realize that. At least Luffy doesn't realize it. And I have to say, kind of on that note with regards to the whole army thing, the 2-page spread of the kind of the Navy tower looming over the men on the ground on pages 8 and 9 was really good. Like, I liked seeing the men in the uniform. Yes, sir, in the name of absolute justice. Like, that was a really good 2-page shot. And that's, again, a good play on perspective. I enjoyed seeing that, the way that it was drawn. To me, that was a good choice from Oda's perspective. Okay, so I know Michael is probably going to have something to say about this, but to me, when I first saw Rogue Town, my first thought was Rogueport, which is the starting point and kind of the hub world of Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. And that's one of my favorite games ever, is Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I don't know if any one of our listeners are aware of how magnificent of a game it was. But yes, to me, I equated Rogue Town with Rogueport. And I've been told that I need to pronounce it differently, and I will try to, but that was my first thought.
You do your best.
About it, upon seeing that was thinking about Rogueport and Paper Mario. I also had a little bit of a mental whiplash moment, because to me it's strange to see them in a more urban or metropolitan setting. Like, so far we've seen them in small towns, remote islands, on the water, but never in a big lived-in city. And I felt like it was just, it's not that I don't like it. It just felt strange. I was like, oh shit, okay. This is where we're at now. And sometimes... Oh,
they live in a place where there's cities.
Right, but it feels a little out of place for them because I've never seen them in such a context before now, right? So it was a little bit strange to me. I'm probably going to get used to it, but it was weird at first. So, bottom of page 15, I was like, I don't know if I'm just imagining things, but that girl looks exactly like Queena. And I was like, is she still alive? And I said, did the terrifying stairs not claim her life?
Just gave her amnesia.
She joined the military.
Right? But I was like, oh my gosh, she looks exactly like her. And like, even before, like, you could see right after kind of the face reveal of that character that Zoro's also reacting very strongly to it. But even before he kind of expands on it a little bit later, I was like, oh my gosh, she looks just like her. And I'm excited to kind of see how that's going to come into play and how we're going to expand on that. And if we get any sort of, I don't want to say closure, but any sort of explanation as to why she looks so much like her. I don't think it's her, but it's definitely, there's something there, right? Okay, guys. At first, I was just excited to see more of Hawkeye. On page 16, and then he mentions to his boss, I found an interesting pirate. He reminded me of a story you told me long ago. I just got that oh shit moment. Like, I fucking knew it. And then we see him glorious and epic at page 19. It's fucking Shanks, bitches! I was like, oh god. My reaction.
Well, yeah, like I started noticing some of his background characters, like the goofy dude with the meat.
Yeah.
Like Ben Flint. I was like, oh
god.
Shit.
Ben Flint. It's Ben Beckman, but yeah,
Ben Beckman.
You can know his first name.
But just like the moment of it setting in was like, holy shit, it's him. He's back. Anyway, just so happy to see him. And then we get, like I said, that really good shot of him on page 18, like his face shadowed in, the scars, the smile, just, oh, so good. I'm so excited to see Shanks again. And I feel like honing back on the beginning as we're getting ready to move on to a new phase of the story or a new arc is a really good bit of storytelling. Like, Oda nailed it as far as that, kind of bringing it back to where we came from as we're just entering this new era, arc, whatever you want to call it. Amazing. Really, really, really good. That's about what I had for chapter 96. I think I'm kind of at a loss for words. Like, this was just a really great transition chapter. And like I said, I feel like previously the transition chapters haven't been this strong. This one is... We're
zooming out big time.
Right. We're like putting everything back into perspective. We're shifting everything, and then it was a treat. Honestly, this chapter was a treat in terms of storytelling and kind of lining us up towards what the rest of the action is going to be looking like in the future. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what I have for 96. Dylan?
Oh, well, I like opening up the chapter with Nami just kind of like bitching at the seagull. Or it's just the delivery guy. It's like, dude, I have no control over the price. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do about it? I'm a seagull.
I'm a bird.
Yeah, bird.
I'm a bird. He's a bird.
It's like, hey, you're raising the price, I won't buy it again. I love Usopp's got this like little alchemy station that he just has. That it really adds depth to like his whole like, little bag of tricks. I like seeing that a lot, and I was like, oh, okay, so that's where he's doing it. All right.
He's the crew's quote-unquote sniper, but he fills a lot of roles, as you've seen.
The budding little chemist. But it's funny, it's like, oh, this hot sauce attack, it's going to ruin anybody's eyes, and then apparently Luffy gets thrown off in the distance, splashes his eyes. Classic Usopp fuck up. Just love to see it. And I love that it shows, like, as he's sitting there, like flames coming out of his eyes.
Yes.
That's fun. Nami playing Sanji for the simp he is.
Yep.
Zolo's even like, what a loser. And it's kind of cool. Like, something I picked up. I don't know where Vera is, but the fact that she's like, there's another coup d'etat in Vera. That's kind of like, oh, it seems like. I mean, she says the world is sure is in turmoil, but it's like, okay, it's like multiple coup d'etats in a single area. Yeah, okay, this is starting to sound like the world's in a pretty bad shape.
Good world building, kind of just dropping elements of world building around.
Yeah, it was just like a little side comment, and I think that's sometimes the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I love that, like, it's just like seeing the whole, like you said, like the crew interacting. Zoom out on the merry-go, and at long last, the merry-go sails for the Grand Line. Everything about the Navy headquarters, I really enjoyed, like the scenery of it. The shot where they're all sitting inside with the little tables in front of that, like mad Yakuza vibes is what I'm getting from that. It kind of lays out like the whole like background story, like world building of how like bounties are handled in the East Blue. Like normally it's 3 million, but like the harder ones, now all of a sudden we got this brand new guy who's 30 million, which we've never done.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and handle it. And the 2-page spread of just the Navy out there, like the fit goes hard as shit.
It really does.
Yeah, I really like the fit. Like the suits with the freaking big overcoats. I'm not gonna even lie. I was just looking at looking up Trihorns to see if I could find a Trihorn before the cruise. They're not wearing Trihorns, but it's like I kind of want to get one just so I can wear it.
I think those are bihorns. I think that's a thing.
Yeah, the main guy, I believe that would be a bihorn, or what most people would associate as like an admiral's hat. But yeah, Trihorns are cool as shit.
Dripping Riz to use.
Well, I pulled off.
To use Gen Z's lingo.
Yeah, rizzed up, Livy Dunn, baby Grunk, Skibbity toilet.
No.
If I ever hear me sing this in a serious context, I'm having a stroke.
I'm pretty sure that is just millennials' interpretation of what Gen Z and beyond is. I don't know if that's
brain rot.
Our own brain
rot. Yeah, we don't get it. We can't process.
Any Gen Z in the comments? Let us know.
We're getting old.
I don't like it. Of course, Luffy's like, they find out the bounty on him. Luffy's like, fuck yeah, we're famous. And I love Usopp's like, look, now I'm known all over the world, but it's literally just the back of his head on the poster. And it's just like, I'm so cool, dude.
Oh, it is the back. I didn't even think about
true.
it. I thought he was
notice
referring to Luffy. I thought he was like, because Luffy's known, I'm known. But
no, and he's talking like hot shit to Sanji about it the whole time. It's like, oh, maybe one day you'll be famous like me. Who knows if you keep it up. It's like, Usopp, you fucking loser. They're kind of going through all that, and I'm just like, well, there's no time to be relaxed in the East Blue anymore now that we wanted. Luffy's meeting, like, all right, let's go to the Grand Line. Everybody's like, yeah! Seeing like the opening shot of Rogue Town, it's like me thinking like anytime playing D&D and like you're described this kind of scenario, it's like, all right, let's go shopping.
You just keep ripping words out of my notes, brother.
Let's go. Time to go shopping. Let's do some equipment getting. And I like seeing, because the way he drew it, it does feel like, it feels lived in. All the people in the street, you see the butcher shop to the right, and people at the counter. It's great. And then everyone's like, all right, well, everyone's kind of deciding what they're going to do. Like, Luffy's like, I'm going to go see the execution scaffold. And Sanji's like, I can get some good cooking ingredients and some cute chicks.
Hey, baby.
Freaking Sanji.
And Zolo's like, there's something I want to buy too. And of course, Nami's like, I'll be glad to lend you some money at 300% interest. It's like, you fucking scuzzbag. And then Zolo's kind of just wandering through the town. And you got two goons going after, who you don't really get a good look until, like, she's picking up the glasses after the whole scuffle.
We don't get her name until, like, I think the next chapter, so...
Yeah. It's like, oh my god, Stair Girl, you're still alive.
Stair Girl! I thought you broke your neck.
Yeah, we nicknamed you Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No, Dylan, no!
Oh, that was good. I'm proud of that one.
I feel like I'm
going to remember that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Keep that in. Keep that in.
Scoreboard, Dylan 1. Stupid
Stair Girl 0.
And then it cuts us away to a random island, and then Mihawk, just a good shot of Mihawk just standing there.
With the
stupid
sword in the back. So good.
Yeah, the sword's dumb, but it does frame out the shot really nicely.
You think it's dumb.
Yeah, I do. But it does frame out the shot really nicely. camping on this island. How careless. Well, as we know, it's red hair Shanks. So he's careless. That's what he does. He just goes with the flow, dude. And I just
reminds me of someone we know.
Yeah.
Luffy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that wasn't
That's where
clear.
that's where he got it from.
We're picking up what you're putting down.
And I just love the artwork they did, like the really shaded in dark artwork to kind of be like, hey, this is like Oda's way of being like, hey, this is a big moment.
Yeah.
Like, pay attention to this.
Yeah. Better hone in.
Oh, I forget what his name is. That's Usopp's dad sitting there.
You recognized him. It's Yasopp.
Yeah. Well, I see
yeah.
you see the ASP on his forehead.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, his dad's name is Yasopp, and that is him. I was gonna point it out, but you nailed it.
Dylan, good job.
And I like how like you don't know it's Shanks yet, but it's like,
But you know.
Hawkeye, this is
like, you don't know,
yeah.
but you know.
Yeah, we know. We've seen the characters like, oh, it's Shanks.
Did you guys know, like, before the actual reveal, like, when you were reading through the first time?
I saw Ben. I was like, oh shit, okay. And then the cut, and then when it cut to like the dude with the meat, I was like, oh my god, it's the Red Shank Pirates.
For me, it was
yeah.
I found an interesting pirate who reminded me of a story you told me long ago. That was like, I already had doubts, and then that was like, oh shit, it's Shanks. And then we see the reveal on the next page.
Also, the big guy with the meat, his name is Lucky Roo. Just
okay. Yeah, he shot a guy like in the face.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, he
fuck.
killed a man in cold blood. But the fact that like it's the thought of it. It's like the fact that Mihawk himself is talking to Flint in a way, like, or Redhead Shanks in a way like this. It's like, oh, he's got a lot of respect for him.
Well, it makes it feel like they're on par with each other, you know?
Yeah, like they're like on the same level, which is in the back of my head, it's like, why the fuck did that mountain bandit ever try and fuck with him then? Because if they're on that same kind of level, red-haired Shanks should be known.
Well, it has been a few years now.
No.
You have to keep that in mind.
It's been a while.
So maybe with time, Shanks gained power, skill, notoriety, you know, all of that.
Well, the reason I thought of that is the line, Hawkeye, this is unexpected, I'm in a bad mood, you're here to challenge me? I don't challenge one-armed has-beens. Which made me think, it's like, no, he had all this power beforehand, but then he lost his arm, he's kind of taking it easy.
Right, and so since we saw Luffy, he is now, I want to say he's in his late teens, early 20s. I think
at this point, Luffy's
he's
like
20
17.
years at the max. And in the flashback, it's been at least like 10 to 8 years, something like that.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in 10 to 8 years, so.
Yeah. But seeing that, it's why the Mountain Bandit ever think the fuck was that, that's the case? Because right after the Mountain Bandit shit, he lost his arm.
Yeah.
So, like, that,
but he didn't lose his arm because of the Mountain Bandit.
Yeah, he lost it to the fish guy protecting Luffy. It just made me think, it's like, oh, so when we were seeing him in the village, I mean, he wasn't letting everyone know who he was, but he was probably at the height of his power. In my mind, that's where I'm putting it. I also love the thing, Sea Dogs break out the grog, we're going to celebrate. It's like, what about your hanger? Fool, how can I not drink on a day like this? You drink up too, Hawkeye. And I love the cut back to his hometown, Windmill Village. And everyone's like, oh man, he's a wanted man. Good for him. He's he's like the highest bounty out there.
Yeah, they're stoked.
It's like, this village may end up being the home of a famous pirate.
Except for the mayor.
Great.
Yeah, the mayor's like annoyed. He's like, really?
Yeah, the mayor's.
This is what we're going to be known for?
The mayor's like, the Navy is the right.
It's like, pirate's a pirate. Me. But then you see there's a level of you see the level of respect in the bottom panel where it's like his dream or his destiny.
Yeah.
Remember that line for the next coming chapters.
It's like, sheesh.
Well, yeah, okay, that's a good point. That's a good point, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, because to me, there's one of those things where it's like, he doesn't like the fact that he's a pirate, but there's still a level of respect to it. It's like, you know what? No, you're meant to do this. You do you, King. That's all I got.
All right. So I'm going to run through some of the more slice-of-lifey stuff because I have some discussion points.
Discuss these nuts? Sorry.
Stop. I loved the delivery bird. It's the only way to deliver paper on a world dominated by ocean.
It makes sense. Vibes.
Yeah, it definitely gives Animal Crossing vibes. I like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought it was so funny. And then Nami haggling with a bird was so ridiculous in a One Piece type of way. Yeah. I loved it.
I'm just a delivery dude. What do you want me to do?
I can't even speak. Yeah. Cacaw. V's favorite line, cacaw. V's a bird, by the way,
I am a bird.
listeners.
He's a bird.
I don't know why, but apparently that's how it is.
It's Always Sunny, DV. It works.
Yeah, it's the same. You're the same person. White Knight Sanji tickled me in a special way. The panel where he's sitting there with his arms crossed, his legs spread
so
open.
Funny.
Luffy ain't touching those tangerines as long as Sanji's on duty. And the fact that Sanji actually was able to overpower and throw Luffy, I think, speaks to Sanji's, abilities. Again, it's such a short little moment, but I feel like everyone who's involved gets enough. I felt like a lot was done with a little, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Everybody got their 2 minutes of fame.
Yeah, you don't see a ton of Zoro, which is fine. He's had so many moments.
It's a great way to kind of set the scene. For sure.
Yes, it absolutely is. They see the bounty, and they refer to it as pirate rings, which is a weird way to say crew, but whatever.
Well, when you think of the scope of Arlong and Don Krieg, more of like a crime ring than it is just a crew. Where Buggy was more of a crew, whereas the other two were more leaders of syndicates.
I think Kuro was a crew.
Yeah, they didn't show Kuro, though. They just showed Buggy.
Oh, okay,
Arlong,
yeah. I was just talking about East Blue in general. But yes, yeah. I gotcha. Great slice of life to open this up, just seeing them live their lives. The Navy Marine chapter was interesting, but I don't know that it added a ton. It had some cool artwork. How did you guys kind of feel about this? Did this change anything about how you saw the Marines, the Navy?
To me, it just put things in it put the stakes into perspective. I don't know that
you're more looking at it from the bounty perspective.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. That these are now the Straw Hats are now wanted criminals, right? And
they're enemy of the state.
Right. And that somehow, I know at some point in the future, this is going to come back and bite them in the ass, right? So in terms of storytelling, I feel like that was useful, and also establishing kind of the scale of it. Like I was pointing out, they're a crew of 5, and they're being, they have an army after them, basically. But in terms of use in storytelling, like I said, kind of just establishing what the stakes are, but it didn't really drive the action forward in this chapter, if that makes sense.
Me, it was kind of world building to me.
I liked it. I thought it was fine. I'm feeling kind of neutral, like kind of lukewarm about it. I didn't hate it and I didn't love it. I felt
like more could have been done with it personally.
They could have, but I feel like in that moment in time, I don't know that expanding on it more at that time would have been necessarily useful. I feel like that was a little bit of a continuation of what we saw in the previous chapter, following the bounty being put on them with Nezumi. But I feel like they have other shit to deal with for now, and so we're gonna address it briefly and put it back on, put it on the back burner for now. That's kind of my take on that.
Dylan, anything to add?
Well, to me, it kind of shows how the world government works. Where the only word I can think, I don't think it's the right term for it, but it's more like a fascism, where it's like the world is run by pure military might, and that's the military is the one in charge. You don't have any kind of democratic overseer. It's like wherever the top honcho of the military is, that's who runs it, and that's the vibe I got for it. And that kind of made it. It's like, okay, I understand, and that kind of explains how we see how some of the other Navy people have acted, where it's like, oh, the military is the grand power, so all I want to do is I want to get into a higher up position, because then at that point, I own this area, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Whereas all this corruption is really rife, because you look at the huge military ran the governments of the world, the Soviet Union, for example. You're in a military high position there. That was just a way to line your pockets. Because you look at what was the Nicolas Cage movie, The Lord of War, where it's basically once the Soviets started collapsing, I just went to the generals and was just buying all their stock off of them because they didn't give a shit. And that's the way I saw it. And that's when it was like, okay, that's how the world government operates, which explains all the corruption.
Right. And it does kind of show the little structure behind the chaos that we've seen, because I don't think we've seen a ton of organized, well-run Navy military stuff at all. And then I did want to give a little explanation. So the reason it's called Rogue Town or perhaps Rogtown, as you'll see, is the original Western version of One Piece was the 4Kids version. Listeners, I am not reading history books on One Piece, so correct me if I'm mistaken here, but my understanding is that they named it that so children could have a better understanding of what this place kind of was. However, it is actually known as Log Town, as in, drumroll, prologue, epilogue. And it's very on-the-nose reference, but it is the end. Beginning.
Okay. Logtown. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, you said that it's prologue and epilogue, where it's like they've already referred to in the manga as the town of beginning and the town of end.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
exactly.
like Alpha Omega kind of shit.
No, that makes sense.
Rogue Town makes sense from like a pirate perspective, I guess, and that makes sense for a 4Kids version. Also, we should watch some 4Kids stuff. It's so ridiculous. Sanji's cigarette in the 4Kids version is replaced with a lollipop.
Oh no!
Oh god,
that's funny.
And then I'm going to skip past. Yeah, exactly. Seeing them hang out in town was cool. It definitely gives D&D/RPG vibes. You know, my mind went to Final Fantasy VII, where you go in, you got to get some new weapons, you got to stock up on potions and antidotes and Phoenix Downs.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the hub.
Yeah.
And you get to meet a new character, which is interesting, but still mysterious. And then I am going to go ahead. So, Mihawk we have identified as one of the 7 warlords, and he is visiting Shanks, and he calls him a has-been, and Shanks' crew is there. We've touched on it a little bit, but do you see how do you conceptualize that relationship as, first-time readers?
Well, like I said, I'm thinking that maybe Shanks used to be one of these warlords, and then when he meets up with Luffy, he's just like, I'm done with that. I just kind of want to hang out. And it kind of explains to me, it also explains like the stare down with the fish monster. The fish monster seeing that, being like, oh shit. I think that kind of really, that moment to me really is like, it's like, holy shit, Shanks is like massively powerful. We have not seen a fraction of what he can do. If Mihawk is coming to him on this kind of like even ground kind of respect, it's like, oh shit. That's the way I took it.
Okay, yeah. So you're saying there's some power.
He possibly was one of the warlords and then decided, I'm done with the Grand Line. I'm going to go take it easy.
Yeah, to echo what Dylan just said, I feel like there's definitely a sense of respect here. I feel like the kind of quip or jab that he throws at him isn't necessarily taken seriously when he calls him a has-been. Like, I feel like there's still something there to the effect of, I respect you enough to address you like there. He wouldn't bother if Shanks was just some low-life pirate. There's something there. Now, whether or not he is one of the warlords, I don't know, or has been one, or like, I'm not entirely sure about that, but there's definitely an air of being on par or close enough to be on par with each other that they can be having these conversations with one another, and it doesn't come across as weird or unnatural or out of place. I feel like Shanks is more than what we might have thought he was at the beginning when we first meet him, but I don't know to what extent, and I'm not sure that I want to speculate on that yet. I feel like I need more information before I start speculating.
Fair.
But it's definitely interesting to see him having that conversation with Hawkeye, and it definitely leads me to wanting to learn more about Shanks, because what we know from him so far is really just what we found out in the very, very first chapter,
nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've established him as a very, like, kind of a cornerstone in Luffy's development as a person, but he himself, we don't know that much about. And
he's scared of fish.
Right. But it makes me curious to find out more, and overall, I think I was so happy to see him again that I'm not sure that I care about what grounds that we're seeing him again on, like
it's Shanks. Who cares what
exactly
the consequences of it are?
Exactly. And I feel like inevitably we will learn more about what those implications are. For now, I'm just happy to see him.
I'm going to double down on my guess, because I've been right on some shit, and we're going to see some, like, the fucking nailed it is coming up soon. Just a heads up. So I'm going to double down.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's coming out, yeah. So I'm going to double down. I've had hunches, and they've turned out to be right. So I'm thinking that maybe he's probably one of the warlords.
Okay. And then last question about this little scene here. Shanks and Hawkeye. Do you see them as both adversarial, or what is the opposite of adversarial?
Collaborator?
Ally,
Yeah.
collaborators with the Straw Hats. Do you see them differently?
I'm getting like
At this point, again, you have almost nothing to go off of. Just
getting
off the
Zolo
cuff.
Luffy vibes. Where it's like Red Shank's the goofy dude, whereas Mihawk's the guy who calls him on his bullshit. That's the vibe I'm
But
picking
that's,
up. I mean, it's
that's
a small...
reflective of also their relationship with each of those characters, in that, you know, Zoro in his interaction with Mihawk, there was the sense
That
of like
levels.
respect of the other one's skill, but still being aware that there's some learning to be had. But like, he didn't completely shoot him down, and he didn't decide to annihilate him. He was like, I see that you have room to grow, and I'm going to give you that opportunity. And equally, we're kind of getting the same vibe from Shanks with Luffy. So for sure, to what Dylan is saying, there's something there in terms of that comparison as far as their relationships go. I feel like it's going to be kind of like a sensei relationship, like the mentor, so to speak. So there's a little bit of both, right? There's a little bit of that collaboration of wanting to see the other one grow into themselves and into their potential, but there's some adversarial aspect to it in that I'm going to test you. I'm going to test you to see how far you can take it. I'm going to test you to see if you can become what I think you can become. For me, a little bit of both.
Okay. I like where your heads are at. Dylan, anything to add there?
No, I just kind of think it's like kind of the same side of a different coin. Or no, a different side of the same coin. Is how, it's how like you got Luffy Zolo, you got Mihawk Shanks. That's kind of like my big like gut feeling on it.
Okay. V, any last words on that?
No, that's it.
Okay. So just, to conclude this, what an awesome chapter. So cool. It reeked of style and One Piece grandeur, so to speak. We get a trip to town. We get the Straw Hats spending time together. We get the Navy kind of showing off. We get new characters. We get old characters. And in my personal opinion, this chapter had everything that I love about One Piece and made my heart swell with joy. 97 will be Dylan.
All right. This is more of the Colby Chronicles on the cover art. They're getting ready to shoot that little dinghy.
Don't talk about my little dinghy.
Which hell yeah. And I like the way this cannon's set up, even though cannons are... That would make me nervous to shoot that, because naval cannons were not riveted sections put together, which every one of those rivets and sections is a failure point. Cannons were cast from solid iron. And the fact that it's set up like that, you fuck up that powder load, you are a goner.
Love your insight there, and definitely agree.
I mean, does it look cool? Yeah. Would I stand anywhere near it or be on the same boat that they're shooting it from? Fuck no. Nami fans, you're getting some service on these first couple pans.
Hell yeah.
Hi.
I mean, shit, she looking good. I can't deny it. I mean, and I love it. It's like, oh my god, electric, so elemental. Oh, exquisite. Oh, ravishing. It's like, so your purchase is going up? No, I like normal clothes piece. It's like, Nami, no, fuck you, Nami. You fuck with service industry people and you're an asshole for it.
She's a bad person.
Yeah, like, fuck you for that. But, like, I get it. And that guy's stupid hanger haircut. What a fucking loser. And then we cut to Luffy. Luffy's kind of just, like, eyeballing the scaffolding. It seems like he's kind of, like, in a moment of, like, bewildered awe, in a sense. I don't think he gets it as much. And then Zolo's kind of, he's kind of stewing. And he's kind of just like, man, she looked exactly like Quina. And then the line I kind of don't agree with. I guess female swordsmen do exist. Like, did you really have to put do in bold? Like, come on now. Oh, man, I love the panel of just him walking in the weapons shop and everything on the walls.
I feel like I knew that you would like that.
Oh, I like that a lot. That's the shit I enjoy. But we get to meet Matsu. And then, as any sleazy pawn shop owner notices his sword and is like, oh, shit, could it be? So, yeah, can I have a look? Turns out his sword is one of the masterwork swords. Like, they go into detail. There's like 10 superior swords, like 20 like great swords, like 40 like uncommon swords. But he's got to broad strokes it,
terms.
Yeah, which I mean they do. But he's got like one of the creme de la cremes, which is Stairway to Heaven sword. And then not Stairway to Heaven comes in. I was like, oh my god, that sword. Could it be? This is... I'm going to try it here. Wado Ichimonji, the straight road of peace.
Great Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, Stairway to Heaven would have been a way better name for it. And I love that it just had like manuals for this. It's like, okay, I want that manual. It's like, okay, hold on.
Right?
That's a useful thing to have. Like, Zolo, get a copy. Like, you could use this.
You're a swordsman.
He has
Come
no
on.
idea, yeah.
And of course, the sleazy shop owner's like, oh, how would you tell him that? I was going to fleece him. And he's like, again, wasn't it going to sell it? Well, cool.
Yeah.
And I like how he's like, oh, you're here to pick up Autumn Rain. And like, we're getting sword names left and right at this point. It's like hard to keep track of it. It just chucks it at her.
There's a Guns N' Roses song called November Rain, and that's what came to mind when he said that to me.
One of the songs with the best guitar solos ever. Let's just put it out there. November Rain solo?
Well, like at this point, and like, hey, look, we see on the wall behind him, there are guns. Usopp should be in this shop right now and buy a fucking gun.
Yeah, exactly. Get him one. He needs it.
Yeah.
For everyone's benefit.
And then at that point, he pretty much, he's all pissed because he didn't get to fleece him. He's like, anyways, the discount barrel's over there. You can get 2 swords out of that for your budget. So, and then, not Stairway to Heaven has her clueless moment. It's like, oh, three swords. Oh, have you ever heard of Rorona Zola? Like, yeah, that's what he does. And I was like, yeah, I know the name. I know the name well. I haven't been called that in many years. Well, since the Clone Wars. See, Ben Kenobi is me.
My note isn't a Star Wars reference, though. But I do have a note on that.
That's where I got from. I know the name well. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I haven't heard that in a while. Not since the Clone Wars.
Dylan's a nerd.
I mean, come on, we're on a podcast about One Piece. I think it's safe to say we all are.
That's a good point.
Anyways.
Okay.
You get some kind of like, you kind of get her being like, oh, using a sword to make money is unforgivable. I'm like, fucking, all right, White Knight.
Oh, I'm sure you're volunteering for the Navy.
Right?
It's like, oh, you want a stepladder to get off that high horse?
She gets a salary and benefits from that, probably.
Yeah.
But then they kind of have their moment, like they're talking shit on the head honcho here, Captain Smoker, and then she comes and he's like, it's not a monster. Apparently he's got the power of the devil fruit. That was something I thought interesting. Oh, okay, now we're running into a Navy person who has devil fruit powers. Interested. But then she has her whole thing, it's like, I'm gonna blah, 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 become so good, blah, blah, blah. And then Zola kind of stands up and is like, you want to take my sword too, since you're gonna collect all the famous ones? And she's like, oh, hold the fuck on, son. Like, I don't know, we're good. We're good.
Wait, let me backtrack a second here. You're too cute for me to get your sword.
Aww.
That's what I
But they're kind of rustling through the discount barrel. She pulls out one. It's like, oh, it's Kitsu 3 or Kitsu the third.
Kitsu the third, yeah. Kitetsu.
And then more, it's like, oh, okay, that's a genuine, genuine fine grade sword. So we're getting distinction. I guess it's in green text.
World of Warcraft. At least that's where my mind goes. There's other
RPGs. Just RPGs with loot. I can't sell that one. It's like, why not? This sword's bewitched. And it's like, oh, you've heard of it? It's like, no, I can just tell. Apparently all the Kitetsu blades are cursed. Everyone who tries to use them ends up falling some terrible death. And so I was like, that sounds edgy as shit. I'm about that.
I'm in.
I'm in. Like, fucking hell yeah, dude. It's like, you got any fucking, like, you got any, like, wallets that have a chain attached to them that I can clip my belt loop? And also a cross that has a knife in it. I want one of those too. But he's just like, I like the artwork of him like holding it up. And it's like, I like this sword. I'll take it. He's like, oh, you're a fool. Just get rid of it. And I was like, all right, if it's so cursed, check this shit. Throws it in the air and holds his arm around. And it just fucking just loop-de-loops right around his arm. Doesn't take a cut. And it's like, all right,
I love
I'm going to keep it. And then points to not Stairway to Heaven. It's like, all right, you pick me another sword. You know what you're talking about. Get me another one.
Yeah, give me that.
And then it's just like, all right, well, okay. And then at this point, the store owner is just like, you know what? Fuck it. Give me a second. He brings out apparently their best sword. The sword has a black lacquered sheath and the blade has Midoriba? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Midoriba,
yeah, it's called Yubashiri or Snow Chaser's category. It's a fine grade sword. It guarantees sharpness. Midoriba is a irregular pattern, so I'm guessing it's like the Hamon thing they put on it, where it's like you do something with clay so the steel on the edge doesn't harden as soon. It leaves a really distinct pattern on it. Or it could be Damascus. Damascus is beautiful. I don't have the money for it. And it's like, just take it. And it's like, I feel bad. I tried to trick you. And then it goes to the whole, like, a sword chooses its wielder, kind of like Harry Potter. Like, oh, the wand picks the wizard, Harry!
Yeah.
A lot of vibes from that. But, like, this is cool. Like, I know I said, like, what I was really hoping for was to be, like, him have, like, a whole, like, blacksmith arc where he, like, meets a blade master, like, a blade forge master and goes through all this. But this was really cool. I enjoyed this a lot. But, like, this was fun. Like, learning that there's, like, all these different grades to the swords, different qualities, like, who it's forged. All that stuff was really cool to me. I really enjoyed this whole, like, weapon shop arc, as I'm going to call it. That was great. And then we get to see why Captain Smoker's called Captain Smoker. Get a shot of him with 2 cigars in his mouth. And then we cut to Sanji's kind of looking in, and he hones in on a butte. And that butte turns out to be the woman from the SBS. We didn't know who it was. I have my suspicions.
Yeah.
I have very big suspicions. But hey, she's here. And like you said, like, this is like kind of the moment I saw this, and it brought me back to like one of our earlier episodes, Michael, where you're like, hey, pay attention to the SBSs.
Yeah.
They are canon.
We were warned. We were told.
And after like these next couple chapters, it's like, holy shit, yeah, they are. And now that I know that, the Captain Morgan shit's like, we're gonna see Captain Morgan have blowing fucking Kobe again. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, at this point, I know it's gonna happen. But yeah, like, for me, that whole chapter was just a weapon shop, and I fucking loved every second of it. But that's all I got. Me?
Yes. So, as Dylan mentioned, I kind of like that we're opening the chapter on, like, an outfit change montage of sorts. Like, anyone who grew up in the 90s will know.
This was in my notes. Let me ask you, what music is playing as she's trying on all these different clothes? Because I don't know.
Like I said, to me, it felt very 90s outfit montage, like we see in Clueless or something like that. Like, it felt very, like, I don't know what music would play, but there would definitely be some music.
Who's that lady?
Right?
Do you have
Sexy
a time
lady.
to
Or like,
listen
I'm
to
your
me?
Venus, I'm your fire,
I'm your fire.
desire. Anyway.
Or like some burlesque music. It was like, bam, bam, bam.
Or like, yeah, voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Anyway, she looks really good in those outfits. This was a really good reminder to me that I am indeed fiercely bisexual. She's hot as all heck in that little montage. Loved it. Also loved that she's like, no thanks, I'm not gonna get it. I just wanted to indulge in that little bit of self-indulgent moment like that. I have a little bit of a V anecdote for you guys. Seeing the execution scaffold in the city reminded me of something from my childhood, and I will tell you all about it. When I was a kid, my mother used to work at the old courthouse in my city. That courthouse was built in the late 1800s, and in the 1980s, it was turned into one of the like central art hubs in the city. So shows, art exhibits, etc. They recently renovated it, but you can't see this anymore. But back when I was a kid, the parking lot for the building was basically right in front of the old gallows, where the crowd used to gather to watch the public executions. And at that moment, you could still see the actual beam that they would hang the people from, and the old doors that would open to get the prisoners out. And I remember as a child being absolutely fascinated by it. Like, I would just stand there and look up at it in like this weird kind of morbid awe, which is very typical of me. If you know that nowadays I'm very much like a horror aficionada. I play a lot of horror games. Like, I love that shit. And I remember just the thought of being in the same place where people had previously been executed was a very powerful thing for me. And I know that Luffy's fascinated by it for different reasons, but I can kind of relate to the feeling of just staring at it in this awe and reflecting on what might have occurred there at the time, and like this being a witness to that side of history. So to me, that was very relatable in a way that I didn't really expect. That kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh shit, this is like the arts court. Anyway, to kind of dive into the whole shopkeep, weapons shop arc that we have going on, the interaction between Zoro and the weapons shopkeeper did reiterate a question that we had early on. What's the conversion rate between berries and, for example, USD. Like, because to me, 100,000 berries feels like a lot of money, right? We're talking about $100,000, but I guess it's not. And so I would be curious to find out a little bit more about that.
He's not buying a pawn shop katana here, you know? These are
right, but
fine
it's still
swords.
a lot of money. Like, 100,000
maybe thousands.
Yeah.
Maybe thousands translate to hundreds, where 100,000 would be 1,000.
I'd be curious to maybe that's something we can. Maybe the internet has an answer for us with regards to that.
That would be interesting, yeah.
But that did have me kind of wondering what we're dealing with in terms of conversion. I really like that the Queen lookalike kind of swoops in and completely stops the salesman in his deceitful ways. Yeah, right there at the bottom of page 7, where she's like, "Oh, that sword, could it be?" Like, hell yeah. And I enjoyed the interaction with them at page 10, where she unknowingly likened Zoro to himself. Like, this is kind of given, and I don't know if you guys will get that, but it's giving Tony Hawk Public Encounters vibes. Like, there's a whole thing about Tony Hawk not being recognized as himself. Like, people would be like, "Hey, you kind of look like that skateboard guy, Tony Hawk."
There's a series called like Do a Kickflip, where he just like calls out to random people. It's like, do a kickflip, and if they land it, he gives them like a signboard. And there's been times like, "Oh, here you go, here's a helmet." It's like, "Man, you look like Tony Hawk." He's like, "Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
I'm Tony Hawk." And they're like, "Oh!"
Right? But it's giving kind of the same vibes.
He is
me. He is me and I am him. We are the same.
I haven't heard that name since the Clone Wars. Sorry.
I just had a stupid note. At the top of page 11, the shopkeep says, "I like bad guys." And I was like, same. Same, dude. I don't know if it's because this was heavily Zoro leading chapter, and that was all about that. And yeah, as we've pointed it out, we're getting a little bit more of lore around the swords in this universe, which I found very, very interesting. I'm not like a weapons or swords kind of enthusiast, but I still thought that it was really interesting, and I feel like it complements the rest of the world building that we've seen so far. And then getting more insight on this girl's motivation was also nice. And yeah, like Zoro's face on the very top panel of page 12 when he asks her if she's planning on collecting his sword too, I was like, "Sir, I'll collect your sword."
Oh, God.
Please.
Tisk.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. And it's just, this whole chapter exudes Zoro big dick energy, and then, you know, he goes for the cursed sword, he tests it, he fucking succeeds, and he's just standing there mid-page, I think it's 16? Yeah, mid-page 16 with his arm laid out, intact, with that, like, beautiful, confident smile on his face. Like, I love this man so much. And then on the bottom of page 18, the Queen lookalike says, "I can't get up." And I'm like, "It's okay, girl. I wouldn't be able to get up either." This was a strong chapter for me. And then, yeah, we learned that her name is Tashigi. And yeah, we get the reveal of the babe. We see the babe. The babe is back, and we're gonna learn more about who she is and how our suspicions were true in the next couple of chapters. But
big fat called it coming up.
Right? Exactly. But to me, that was a really strong chapter. And I know I have bias because it was Zoro, and I love Zoro, and oh my god. But I loved it. I think it did a lot in the realm of world building. I thought that was good. Expanding a little bit on the weapons and on the notoriety of the different weapons, and how much importance they actually have in the world building. And I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a really good chapter. Really good at kind of establishing the groundwork for what is going to happen in the future. Michael?
Yeah, so I'm going to take a little bit of a left turn on this. I'm going to say the sword stuff kind of went on a little long for me. I was like, okay, the swords. It felt to me like Zoro has never purchased a sword in his life, which may be the case. You know, he's spent a lot of time in the East Blue. He's well known in the East Blue, but his name isn't a ton bigger than that, as we've heard. People have mentioned that he's the terror of the East Blue. Yeah. But yeah, the shop definitely gave me RPG vibes. You know, you go in, you purchase the weapons that you need, you gotta get stronger. Maybe Zoro should have grinded a little bit more for some gold.
And kill a couple goblins for a couple hours, come back and get a better sword.
Yeah, I'll be good soon. I'll be back. The shopkeep reminded me of Pennywise from
the hair.
It. He has the clown vibes. He was a goofball and kind of a piece of shit, but yeah. On page 18, I did want to point out Zoro has his 3 swords, and that boy is strutting. He's so happy to have 3 swords of his own again. And I loved it. You see that?
Yeah, and the line, having 3 swords makes me feel whole again.
He's just like, pop, 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 da, 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 da. And yeah, and then we're introduced to Captain Smoker, who is smoking not 1, but 2 cigars.
The devil fruit lets me smoke twice as much. Whoa, dude's gonna be great at parties, bro.
And between him, Sanji, and multiple other characters have been smoking. I wonder how many kids picked up smoking because of One Piece.
There's probably a big reason for kids turn into a lollipop. And there's a shitload of tobacco use here.
Yeah.
What's up, kids? Smoking's cool.
Yeah. You guys nailed a lot of what I had written down here. Also the babe, as V would say, is looking extra magnificent today. Or not magnificent, mysterious, both.
Definitely both.
Mysterious.
Glow up. Glow up on who we will soon find out is Alvida.
Called it!
You ruined it!
But, called it! I called it!
The reveal was supposed to be next chapter.
Oh my god. If you haven't read next chapter by the time you're listening
While you're listening to this, you should probably read it first.
Spoiler alert. But yeah, I loved a lot of the slice of life-esque stuff. Zoro's shtick when he went to the sword stop, I feel like it went a little too long for me. But overall, it made me ready for the next chapter. I didn't think this chapter was, super groundbreaking in any way for me, but I understand that it has a lot that a lot of readers would enjoy. So
I didn't remember one thing, like when he threw the sword, it's like, it's like really bad to just throw a sword in the air and let it hit the ground, right?
Yeah, right. Like I thought that was kind of silly.
I get what you're going for, but it's like
I still thought it was
there's not
big
a ton of force behind
move.
it.
It was.
I liked it.
It was, but it's like, what are you going to do if the sword broke because you did that?
Yeah, you have to pay for that.
I was going to give it to you for free, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah. 98 is Dylan?
Oakley Dokley.
No, it's me.
No.
Yeah, it is me.
Sorry, Dylan. Yeah, so my little comment on the intro image story, I was like, is Kobe shooting up a storm? And I guess he considers Helmeppo to be his friend now, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like Helmeppo and Kobe started off their relationship with a little bit of like low-key abusive vibes, and I don't care for...
Who's going to kill him?
Exactly!
Helmeppo's going to kill Kobe.
And now Kobe's like, oh no, he's my friend. No, Kobe, listen to me. Know your worth.
Deserve better.
You're better than this. You're better than Helmeppo. I promise you. There are better friends out there for you. Namely, the Straw Hats.
But bro, he got it up. Look at all those guns in his
I know, that's what I'm saying. He's shooting up a storm. I thought it was really nice to see each of the Straw Hats kind of doing their own thing. Sanji's buying some fish, presumably to cook a delicious meal. Usopp is buying some ammo. Nami is doing some shopping. And, of course, being able to smell a storm coming. The perceptive queen, as she is. I really like big shout out, and again, we're talking about the importance of perspective. Big shout out to the bottom panel of page 4. I really liked seeing the shot of the city from Luffy's vantage point. I really like these big panoramic panels, but I feel like that, again, that was a really interesting exercise in perspective. And, ultimately this is going to be an important location in the development of the next few chapters. And, I really, really liked it. And then we get the reveal that the babe has been Alvida this whole time. To me, I saw it coming, maybe not as early as Dylan did, but I saw it coming. For me, it was the cowboy hat. That's what gave it away for me. Also, I guess she's into some kinky shit. Like, the way she talks about how it was so hard and I love strong men on page 7. Like, she kind of low-key likes that Luffy beat her around. And I'm like, I mean, I get it, but it felt a little strange coming from her. Interesting.
Oh, she's saying it like a hoe too. It's like, oh, it was so hard.
It was so hard with the heart. Yeah, like the bump with the hearts, and she's like, ooh, she's like touching her own face, and she's like, ooh, yes. She's like right back in the moment. Yeah, I do want to point out mid-page 10, I spy with my little eye a little clowny face. And yeah, so I guess the devil fruit is the newest fad diet in the East Blue. I gotta say, I am kind of happy to see that she was confident and happy with herself before she lost a bunch of weight. Yeah. I feel like you can feel that way at any size. I'm someone that has been through a lot with regards to her weight also. I'm not gonna get into it here, but like, I was happy to see that she's still... She felt as beautiful then as she does now. And to me, that's a good thing. Like, that makes me happy. And then again, kind of going back to what we've been discussing throughout all of this, the buggy intro image story kind of joins back the main storyline. And to me, that's some very clever storytelling on Oda's part, being able to tell the main story and also a parallel side story at the same time. And I guess we're seeing that happen in real time with the Kobe and Helmeppo storyline also. And as I've pointed out a bit earlier, I'm eager to see how that is going to join back into the main storyline at some point, I imagine. Luffy's response at the bottom of page 12 when he says, "Oh, it's you, Buggy."
Yeah.
He's totally unimpressed. His life is in danger once again, but he's like, oh, hey, it's you. I know you. Hey, how you been? Like this person hadn't been a threat to your life before.
Remember when I kicked your ass? Good times.
Yeah, remember that? Hey, how are you? How you been? It's good to see you. But yeah, that was funny. And so as Michael briefly touched on in the previous chapter, we're being introduced to the newest Navy captain in the story, White Chase Smoker. I suppose he wears his name well. As Michael pointed out, he's smoking not one but two cigars at the same time. My first thought upon seeing him was he's kind of hot, but I can't imagine the breath on him. Like we can make out. Just have a gum or two before.
Just drink a bottle of Listerine.
No, a gum. Yeah. The Listerine strips. Brush your teeth. Have a gum. We're good to go.
Eat a bunch of mints. Eat them. Don't suck on them. Eat them.
It's just ugh. Yeah. Also, his teeth probably not pearly whites. It's fine, but you know what I mean. And we also find out that Tashigi is Master Chief Petty Officer. And I have to say, I'm not super familiar with the titles in the military, and I didn't know that Master Chief was actually a title.
No, it's a video game character.
Excuse me?
No, it's a video game character.
Right, isn't that like the character in Halo?
Master Chief is... Yep, it is a rank in the Navy.
Yeah. Oh, but it's all okay. Thank you for clarifying that, because I wasn't too sure. I did enjoy that they both are given a nice half-page panel on pages 15 and 17 respectively. Kind of does a good. To me, it does a good bit in introducing the characters. We get kind of the full body shot panel of them, and we're like properly introduced to them now. They're not just this random character. Like now they have been established as a character from this point out. I have to say, I had a really good chuckle. I really like the way the chapter ends with Luffy unsuccessfully reaching for his nose to scratch it.
Is that what's happening?
He's like, he's in the
stretch, my guy.
Right,
Stretch.
like he's in the, how do you call that? Where your head and your
Aloes?
Yes.
Stockades.
Yeah, the stockades, and he's trying to reach for his nose to scratch it. He's like, darn, my nose itches. To me, that was, again, he can stretch. Come on, Luffy. Yeah, and the rest of the crew is like, really? Again? Like, they literally just narrowly escaped death. And here they are. Again.
Yeah, everyone's shocked. Nami just looks pissed.
Right? Exactly. I'm with Nami on that one. Like, really? Come on.
She has grr. She has a little grr.
Exactly. And, like, I get it. I would be pissed off, too. Like, we just settled this, and now we're back to something similar? Come on. And, yeah, I felt like the SBS in this case was particularly cute and heartwarming. I appreciate the effort that is made to highlight those, like, smaller parts of the ship, but they still have a lot of importance. Like, we're talking about I think it's, like, the figurehead that's also Luffy's chair, and then the grove that Nami brought back from Cocoa Village. Nice little bit of a highlight there to those elements. But that's what I had for 98. Dylan?
To touch on the cover art, to me it kind of like really portrays how much Luffy really rubbed off on Colby. Because I'm assuming there's no hesitation. He's pulling guns. He's terrified. You can tell that he's terrified. He's pulling guns, standing in front of the cannon, shooting off the guns, and being like, "That's my friend. You can't hurt my friends. I won't let my friends be hurt." And that's really Luffy-esque.
Like, yeah, like even if he's scared, he's still gonna do it because of his like integrity and his friendship. Even though, I have thoughts on his friendship with Helmeppo, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Whereas Usopp, on the other hand, it's like, oh no, it has to go through like a whole dilemma. Whereas Colby's more off the cuff with it.
Hashtag Team Kobe.
Yeah, I'm all about Kobe. It's kind of cool. You get to see with the fish thing. He's like, it's an elephant, true bluefin. This came from the South Seas. It swam here. And it's kind of like, okay, cool. And then, like, you don't get Sanji doesn't go much on it, but, like, that to me kind of makes me think, like, is Sanji picking up on that maybe you're close to the all blue, considering something from the South is here? Maybe you're getting close to what you're after?
Well, they are talking, like, when they first go into Logtown, they kind of establish that this is part of, like, the line, right? Like, they're
it's like the start of the Grand Line.
Yeah. So...
And then I guess it really shows the inner chef in Sanji, where it's like, you want me to cut it up for you? It's like, nah, I'm going to take it whole. He's going to butcher himself, use every
He
last
can fillet a fish.
bit. Oh, yeah. And then he goes to think, it's like, oh, the hottie's gone. What a bummer. Sees Usopp, and then Usopp's like, wow, these eggs are cheap. It's like, what are you, a housewife? It's like, what? You're buying
ammo.
Food ingredients too, dude. Like, a hypocrite.
Sanji's more of a housewife than Usopp is, for being honest.
Yeah.
The way he simps on Nami.
Yes.
Come on now.
Oh, okay. I guess I see more of it now because it's like, wow, these eggs are cheap, but there's a one per customer limit. I guess that more like it pertains on it. Because it's not in the bubble text, it's like in the text right above them. No bubble for it.
Oh, that's so small. I didn't even notice that.
Either.
Yeah, it's a little hard to read too. See Nami getting her haul of clothes, where the shop owner's wearing a pretty dank shirt. It says funk on it. I like that shirt. But immediately, as soon as the second Nami steps, you see why she's the navigator. As soon as she steps out, she notices something. She's like, ooh, air's different than barometric approach.
Smells it.
Pressure's dropped. There's a big storm coming. It's like, dang, I wanted to go spend more money. But, and she turns to the shop. It's like, do you have a sheet of plastic? It's like, but the weather's fine. It's like, no, it's not. Hey,
You dumb bitch.
Stupid bitch. You didn't think about the barometric pressure. And, of course, Luffy, like, clueless as can be. One of them dipshits who would climb the Lincoln Memorial because it's there and he thinks he's allowed to. But I did like seeing, like you said, seeing the city from his viewpoint. Mm-hmm. It kind of gives me like for example, like Attack on Titan vibes. Because anytime you're in like the big like metropolitan, it's like super clustered, super dense like population in this one spot, and it's just the architecture reminds me a lot of it too. But and then the cops are yelling at him, so you can't be up there. It's under the jurisdiction of the world government. And then see the mace. The mace was the big tip off for me. I saw the mace, I was like, oh shit, it's Iron Mace Alvida. Damn, I fucking called it.
You had the mace, I had the hat.
And surely you haven't forgotten his face. It's like, well, yeah, I kind of have. You almost look nothing alike. But everyone's swooning over, and then, and the thing where it looks like it comes into contact with her, the bottom panel, where you see it flying at her, and then it seems where it's like there's contact, and it says shoom, and it just goes right by her. That makes me interested. Like, what is the slip fruit? What does it do?
Yeah.
Like, that makes me curious about that. It's like
can she not be touched at all? Like, it's... Yeah.
Or is it something kind of like a D&D reference? Is it like a displacer beast, where it's like what you're seeing of her isn't her, it's just a mirror image where she's actually like a couple inches to the side? Which, who knows? That'd be interesting. I could see that.
I'm sure we're going to see more of it.
Oh, yeah. And I like the way the Buggy reveal is played out. Because, I mean, you see the face and you're like in the cloak, and you're like, oh, that's Buggy. That's fucking Buggy. But I love how, like, him and the whole crew, you see all the fucking cloaks go flying. And they're standing there. They're like, yeah, we're Buggy's pirates. We almost got eaten by cannibals. Fuck yeah. And the thing is, if you had never said that the SBSs were canon, like, because I always assumed it's just like, oh, it's just a goofy little side story. It's like, oh, what if? What if something happened afterwards? Right. And it's like, see this, like, oh, shit, okay. That's fucking dope. And again, Luffy be like, oh, it's you, Buggy. What's up, dude? Love that. Luffy to a T. And then my least favorite of fucking dumb fucking circus trick sword boy. I forgot his name.
Which one is that?
He's the
Sabaji.
Yeah, okay. He's the swordsman. No.
The one with the My Chemical Romance look on him? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's got the Scotch scarf around his neck. And it's kind of fitting. It's like, hey, we're going to hold your public execution. We're the biggest public execution ever held. And then I like kind of seeing Smoker. The stone stacking thing, there's got to be some kind of significance to it. Couldn't tell you what it is, but, it's kind of cool. It's like, unless that's exactly what you do for entertainment, then you're a psychopath. I don't want to be anywhere near you because you are unhinged and you're getting ready to hurt people. But, like, seeing him in his coat, like, when you get, like, you talked about, like, that half-page spread, that really gave me Sid from the Final Fantasy game vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, Sid is portrayed like that a lot in the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that was the big kicker for me. Like, cigar, too. I think there's a couple iterations where he's always smoking a cigar, too. Not two of them,
something in his mouth. I don't know if it's a toothpick or cigar.
Toothpick, yeah. And I love the scene. It kind of, like, what you know of the Navy makes you think, it's like, damn, he's going to be a piece of shit. And the little girl's like, yeah, 3 scoops of ice cream. She bumps into him and spills, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's going to kill my daughter. Oh, I'm going to have another kid. Fuck. And then he just leads down. He's like, sorry. It's like, my pants ate up all your ice cream. Next time, try 5 scoops. It's like, all right, I like him. I like him now. You're a cool dude. The child is terrified, which I get, but then you're like, hey, get more ice cream next time. And she's like, fuck yeah, Dad, look. I like that. That was an interaction I loved.
Well, to me, that tells me he's not a complete scumbag.
Yeah. And I like the interaction. They're like, hey, you need to get ready right away. I brought your jacket. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just a little off today. And then he snaps her. It's like, you mean more so than usual? It's kind of like, I can't think of a character name, but there's like plenty of stories where there is that klutzy character who's always stumbling over themselves, always messing stuff up.
Falling downstairs, for example.
Yeah, or dying from like a 2-foot stair.
She needs to watch out for stairs.
Yeah. I'm a little off today. I had to go up 3 flights of steps. It was harrowing.
Careful now.
A light flashed before my eyes. And I like how it's like, you meet up to everyone coming as Sanji is roped Usopp into carrying the fish with them. And I like how they just all kind of like, just about their own volition, weren't even like trying to meet up, just bumped into each other. Like this massive town, they just all end up with each other. And they're like, all right, where is he? It's like, well, we want to see the execution scaffold, so we're right here.
And that's where they find him.
Yep, and it's like, God, and they see him like about to be executed. They're like, God damn it, dude.
Damn it.
Not again.
Yeah. I can't, I swear to God, this is why we can't have nice things, Luffy. But yeah, that's all I got for this chapter. Fun chapter. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. This is maybe something that you guys will not care about or know about, at least for some time. But that fish that Sanji buys, just within the past 2 weeks, the One Piece trading card game released a starter deck. And the focus of the starter deck was Zoro and Sanji. Like the leader of the deck. In this game, you have a leader leading your deck.
Star Wars, kind of.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And that fish is one of the characters that, or like one of the cards that kind of represents Sanji. And when I saw it, because I had just read this chapter, if I hadn't just read this chapter, I would know no more than anyone else in the world. I was like, what the fuck? Why does this fish get its own card?
Elephant true bluefin. Yeah.
Well, it's a goofy looking fish, that's why.
Well, he has the trunk like the elephant, and then he looks like a bluefin tuna, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so weird that that's one of Sanji's representations in the deck. Like, Queen is in the deck.
It's the corpse at the bottom of the steps.
Aw, Dylan. I mean, you're funny, but also aw.
I also was like, why can't Usopp just live his life, Sanji? Why can't he just go shopping like you?
Like, you're shopping for fucking food too. What the fuck, dude?
Alvida, when she's like, so hard, or whatever she says.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she says.
It
exactly.
was so hard.
It gave me Jennifer Coolidge.
A little.
From
Yeah.
Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
I want a hot dog real bad.
Same vibes.
And then we see both Alvida and Buggy show up, and Dylan texted me. He's like, I'm half expecting Krieg to show up.
Right?
Too. I thought that was hilarious.
I was like, where's this motherfucker at?
Yeah. Smoker and Tashigi to a lesser extent, but I thought Smoker reveal was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like we saw him before, but seeing him in his whole get up, it was cool, and he definitely felt like a Dylan character, and Dylan confirmed as much.
Yeah.
It was like, Dylan, you said I like this guy.
I do.
And we do see a softer side of a Marine for possibly the first time.
Yeah.
You know, we've had Full Body, we've had Morgan, we've had Nezumi, and I think it's important to see that other side.
It humanizes
it was
it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Exactly. And then Tashigi and his interaction was classic bumbling fool commander type of deal. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, I don't know. I definitely like Smoker and Tashigi here. I like both of them.
I'm interested to see more Tashigi after that little scuffle.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to learning more about the both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's also this like little one-liner. I think Usopp says, or no, maybe it was Sanji says, I saw a strangely dressed man riding a lion. I was like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
But yeah, I thought this chapter, like Dylan said, was a lot of fun. It was just fun top to bottom. And you see old faces, new faces, they're brought together, a touch of the slice of life stuff that we all enjoy. And of course, Luffy is at the middle of it all, causing a ruckus, perhaps inadvertently, but still. But yeah, that's what I got for 98. 99 is Dylan.
To start off again with the Colby Chronicles, you see him saying like, my friend, and like all of his, even the guns in his pockets have been sliced to ribbons. That made me kind of curious. It's like, okay, there's like the captain's bodyguards, the guys in the suits with the katanas. Like, after seeing that, it's like, okay, well, now that we know this shit's canon, I kind of want to see those guys in action now. I kind of want to see what they do, how they hold up.
You said captain, but Garp is a vice admiral.
Like leader of the ship is kind of more what I was going with.
So what's so between a vice admiral and a captain, where are they at in relation to one another?
The vice admiral is like the top honcho of a flotilla, essentially.
Okay.
Whereas the vice admiral is going to be like below him.
Okay.
Where it's like the captain runs the ship unless you have somebody like an admiral or vice admiral. In that case, they're in charge. But for the majority, the captain is the one who makes all the calls on an individual boat. Whereas admirals and vice admirals are more grand strategy of fleets and all that kind of stuff.
So I have it here. Captain in this world is just below vice admiral. Just above vice admiral is admiral, and above that is fleet admiral.
And then the panel of the "We will now commence with the grand style execution," just in front of like I guess the government building, is a really nice shot. I like that shot. And then we got this dumb, goofy looking motherfucker who has now turned his fucking lion into a motorcycle.
With the headlight and everything?
Yeah, with the headlight. Yeah, fucking God, why didn't you kill him? Now, I want him dead more now.
I already didn't like him, and now it's just next level. Yeah.
Who's the one that rides the Richie bike? Tell me who it is. It's me. You made your own little fucking theme song, you loser. But the gist of it is like he's there. It's like if Luffy does somehow escape, his job is to burn the ship. And then Smoker's kind of like, we've never let a pirate escape from our city before, so like, you know what? let's just let them kill each other. They're criminals. Let the criminals kill each other. As long as they don't get away, we're good. Which I get it. Makes sense. I mean, you gotta come up with the whole line. It's like, how many civilian casualties are gonna happen because of this? Probably a lot. And then, very similar, very, very similar to Roger, the original King of the Pirates.
Gold D. Roger.
Yeah, Gold D. Roger being like, my treasure's out there, go find it. Luffy's like, I am going to be king of the pirate. And just that scene of him shouting out at the crowd really brought me right back to that. The very introduction of One Piece. That scene brought me right back to that execution. And at this point, like, they see all this fighting going on, and then at this point, Smoker's like, all right, get ready. We're getting ready to get involved ourselves. And then it's just Luffy with a shit-eating grin on his face as the sword's coming for the back of his neck. Sorry, I'm a goner. Haha.
Haha.
I'm the dead baby Joker, baby.
Oh, God.
And then Smoker's like fucking shook. He's like, he laughed. What the fuck? When we hear crack, crack, and originally I heard the crack, crack. I was like, what? Did he turn his like neck into like steel, and now it broke the sword? But you get that great 2-panel spread. All right, it's actually no, it's not a 2-page. It's a. It's like a page and 3/4.
If you were looking at this in a book format, part of that would be on the second page.
Yeah.
So.
But lightning strike hits down real hard. Scaffolding's on fire. Buggy might be dead. He's smoking. Who knows? And Sanji at this point is like, do you believe in a high power? It's like, do you believe in God? Like,
well,
maybe.
I mean,
maybe. And then Zolo's like, I'm too edgy. Atheism. But he's like, don't talk nonsense. Let's get out of here. At this point, the Marines get involved, surround the square, and capture the pirates. The boys are like, time to leg it, mate. And start booking. And Smoker's still sitting there kind of shook, thinking to himself, why did he laugh? Did he know he'd be rescued? That's not it. In the moment he anticipated his fate, he saw his death, accepted it, and laughed. And then there's some other stuff. And the big one is 22 years ago, another man laughed on that very spot. He was Gold Roger, king of the pirates. Mm-hmm. And that panel in and of itself is a great fucking panel.
It's a great one. It looks so good. The like juxtaposition of
with him
Smoker
smiling
in the background.
Yeah.
So good.
To the final panel, they're hauling ass. You can tell Zolo's yelling at Luffy to quit dicking around. Yeah, that's all I got for that chapter. Great chapter. Good little cliffhanger to end on. Like a lot of suspense.
So yeah. I guess Nami will have a surprise waiting for her when she gets back to the ship. Hopefully, what's his name? What's the guy with the lions?
Richie?
I think the lion's Richie. I think his name's
what's
like
the guy's
Moji.
name? Is it Moji?
Moji.
That's
Mojiji
it.
Or something.
Moji, yeah. Hopefully he won't have burned it yet. Anyway.
Loser.
He's inconsequential in my very humble opinion. Just
goofy.
quick note to the way that Luffy's face is drawn at the very bottom corner of page 7. The way that he's pouting, like with the lips pursed and the annoyed eyes, I thought was, I don't know, I just loved it. I just love seeing him. Like, he might die. And all he can do is pout like a petulant child, and I love that.
That's not fair.
It's not fair.
You're stuck up on me.
It's just, I'm gonna be the king of the pirates, he says. Anyway, in case anyone needed a reminder of Luffy's mission statement, here it is at page 8. He's gonna be the king of the pirates. No one is surprised. Everyone saw that coming. He said it time and time and time and time again. And he will continue to say it, I'm pretty sure. And then my only comment for the next few following pages was brawl. Just, people brawl.
Yeah, fucking throw down.
Yeah, just people
hands.
smacking on each other. Yeah, we'll wipe them out. Get him. It was just very, very brawl-like. I had a little bit of like a soft-hearted moment at the very bottom of page 12 when they're all calling each other's name out. It's like they love each other. they're like, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Nami. Like, I don't know. It just felt it felt cute. I liked it. Like, they care about each other. And yeah, so I wanted to be surprised that Luffy kind of chuckles when he says, I'm a goner at the top of page 13, but
Sorry.
to be honest, I kind of knew that he would. It's only the natural thing for him to say, like, oh, I'm a goner. Oops. Oopsie. Here we are again. Ooh. Yeah.
Yep, that's me. Imagine how I got here.
I really enjoyed it's not exactly a 2-page spread, but almost, at pages 14 and 15 with, Luffy being saved by the storm, more specifically the lightning bolt straight into Buggy's sword. Like, artistically, to me, that was a very impressive shot. I just loved the way that it was drawn. I liked the, distant perspective with the thunder
Scaffolding going down on fire.
Going right down where it needs to go, the kaboom, like, just the tower kind of falling over. To me, that was just a really, really nice 2-page spread. And I kind of hate to say it, but to me, this felt more epic than seeing Arlong Park crumble.
No, I would agree.
Yeah, the way he drew it, for sure.
The way that it was drawn, that's what I wanted out of the Arlong Park thing. And again, I really don't mean to hate on that. To me, it was impactful in the significance of it, but as far as the drawing goes, I preferred this over the Arlong Park 2-page spread. Yeah, just I'm really impressed by the drawing of it all. And yeah, Dylan pointed it out. Sanji's reaction made me laugh. Do you believe in a higher power? Listen, I'm a full-on agnostic here. That probably would have had me reconsidering the essence of life itself, too. Like, I get it. I would also be like, you know what? Maybe there's some credit to this.
The way his hands are all out, it's kind of like,
he's like, listen,
with me. Let me cook.
Let's talk, okay? Do you believe in a higher power? And then Zoro's like, no, we don't have time to think about that.
Believe in a higher power.
Okay. Were you trying to make a Cher song out of that?
Yeah.
Okay, Of course you were. Well, no. You tried. You tried. I'm proud of you.
I succeeded.
I'm proud of you. There was an attempt was made.
It was a resounding success, I think.
I don't know about that. And yeah, very interesting comparison made between Luffy and Gold Roger. Conspiracy V moment. Are they related? Is Luffy his reincarnation? Like, I'm a little bit of the same opinion as Smoker here. To me, it can't just be a coincidence. There's gotta be something there. I don't know what it is yet. I'm curious to find out more about it. But it can't just be happenstance or coincidence. Like, there's something. And they kind of look alike, also. Like, the hair? I don't know. Like,
I could see it.
There's kind of something
they have
there.
Dark hair.
Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
His smirk's a little more sinister, but like the toothy smile they always flash.
yeah, and just, I don't know, kind of the way they're, like, when you see, for example, when you see Luffy being really, really pissed off at the end of chapter, what was it?
Oh, when he said use.
Yeah. Like, at the end, I think it was chapter 92, just the way that Luffy's drawn there as comparison to just seeing Gold Roger there, just the way his brow and his eyes are drawn, to me, it's feeling like there's something there. Again, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. I didn't have much else for this chapter. To me, this was just a really good way to establish context for the next arc and kind of wrap up the Ace Blue saga that we just very recently finished. And as Michael pointed out, this brings the scope of One Piece from something that feels fairly limited to something that is much wider, to something that is much bigger, with different stakeholders, different people we've seen before and people we have not yet met. It just expands on the universe that we've already built and that we've already seen. And I'm very eager to see where it goes in volume 12, which we will not get around to quite yet. But yeah, exciting stuff as we're finishing this. Dylan?
Michael?
Okay, sorry.
I was like, wait, did I already go?
Right.
Maybe you did, sorry.
No, you're good.
So, some key things I want to point out. Buggy calls Luffy MD Luffy, Monkey D Luffy.
Right.
And all I could think of was Dr. Luffy.
Dr. Luffy?
I can't imagine
I
that
don't
being
think
a
he went to school
doctor.
for
And I
that
don't
future.
God,
want
no,
to.
please, never.
Yeah. It's a bold move of Buggy to pull this stunt in the middle of a Navy town. You know, like there's clearly plenty of soldiers stationed here. And I loved Luffy's demeanor during his quote-unquote execution. It was just so Luffy. It was so good. It was so funny.
Classic.
And I loved it. Also, Zoro and Sanji are running up. Sanji's like, I gotta kick down this platform. Zoro's like, I gotta chop down this platform. I can only imagine, like, if Nami was there, she's like, I gotta steal this platform. If Usopp was there, I gotta lie to this platform.
I gotta gaslight this platform.
Nami's like, I gotta steal somebody's shit while Luffy gets executed.
The storm, I felt, really brought a decent amount of atmosphere to this, like with the rainy panels. Well, yes.
I like the slow start to the rain, and then all of a sudden it's a torrential downpour.
Yes, I thought it was so good from an artistic standpoint. And then one of my favorite moments was Luffy just standing there on the smoldering ashes of the platform. Lucky me.
Yeah.
Yes, Luffy. Lucky you. So much. And then I just wrote in squiggly letters, Destiny. Woo. And yeah, I feel like all of Logtown has been super fun. I think it was written with the story in mind, but most importantly, I think it was written with the fans in mind. Because at this point, you know, it's just getting off the ground. Oda is proving that he has a story worth hearing. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, from sales and shonen and fan response, he has seen that he's going to keep going.
It's a nice little change of pace, but it's still in line with what we are expecting.
Yes. And yeah, I just thought it was really cool rising action. A climax for Buggy, perhaps, but it's maybe most interesting because of who is a part of all of this and not necessarily what happens. Buggy, Alvida, Smoker, the Straw Hats. It's just a combination of really interesting characters coming together for what is a pivotal moment, I think, in One Piece.
It's like a Warriors moment.
And yeah,
all the different gangs are meeting up to brawl.
And I love moments like this. I've said it before, but these kind of transitions where we see the wider stakes of what's happening, and I love it. And that is volume 11.
We did it, boys. Ahead. East Blue. Yeah. East Blue's a wrap.
And for that, I'm going to share my screen real quick here.
Oh God!
Why are you showing me that?
That's weird porn, dude. I don't want to see that.
You're into that? Ew, gross. Ew.
Why am I not surprised?
Want the image. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. This was a suggestion from a viewer, or a listener, which I thought was a really excellent suggestion here, to just kind of preview the cover art of our next volume, and we'll get into our final thoughts here. But every volume before this one at the top said East Blue. Mm-hmm. And I just want you guys to go ahead and look and see what's at the top of this one.
Baroque works.
Huh.
Yeah, so we're shifting 100%. Starting next volume, which we will come back to after our vacation. We're going on a little break.
Yay!
So we look forward to having everyone back when that happens.
We're going on a cruise, guys, together.
Yeah, I'm going to meet you for the first time in person.
Yeah.
But I will let you guys know more about when we're coming back. But the goal is to have a live stream and, of course, to return to our normal scheduled activities thereafter, but the timing has not been locked down yet. Again, check out our socials to get more info. But I just wanted to show this cover art. I don't know that this one particularly says anything super exciting. Maybe the
Gold.
Straw Hats come into a windfall of cash.
Yeah.
I just like, honestly, I just like seeing the characters in action and seeing them, that's something that's a little bit lost on you when you read the manga, but just seeing the colors, right? Seeing, it feels maybe a little bit more lively. And again, I feel like Oda has something with feet because we see
Yeah, he likes putting them grippers on display.
tootsies right front and center.
But yeah, I don't think this one gives us a whole lot to go off of, but it is fun to look at, huh? And we get the new title, or the new arc, quote unquote.
Baroque Works.
Title Baroque Works.
Nice.
I won't muse on what that means. We'll get into it next time, but let's go ahead and take our final thoughts here. I'll go first, as is tradition. And I do believe Dylan opened things up for us, so he'll go second and then V third. So, in conclusion, this was my favorite chapter, or excuse me, volume thus far. I've kind of hinted at that. This is my kind of stuff, this kind of world building, grand style stuff, and it's when it becomes One Piece, if you ask me. It closed Arlong with a bang, and the party and wrap up afterwards was so fun. It had emotional moments, it had funny moments, it had everything that you expect out of One Piece. Then we got Logtown and so much more. We got Shanks, we got the Navy, we got bounties, we got telesnails. And I feel like there was so much room for so many different aspects of the story to shine here, and there will be so many more to come. That's really all I had to say. I'm just so giddy. I was so giddy going into this. I'm so giddy leaving it. And yeah, Dylan?
Yeah, like I will admit that, yeah, this is a great volume. A lot of fun. The Arlong thing, the way they wrapped it up at the end with all the conclusions was perfect. And with the world building touch that, yeah, like I get what you're saying about this is where One Piece becomes One Piece, because like all the stuff in Rogue Town, all it really made, like, it felt like it's like, okay, before it was like you were just in this corner of the world, but now it's like, all right, now you're at the hub station. All corners of the world are now open to you. Where are you going to go from here? I also really like seeing how the Navy hierarchy kind of went, and it kind of like made it a lot easier for me to understand how the corruption can easily be so rampant, where it's like at the headquarters, yeah, it's all up to snuff and it's all above board, but it's like when you go out to these more minor provinces, it's a lot easier for people to start skimming off the top, because it's just such a massive military. Who's going to know when this little bit goes missing or when that little bit goes missing? And yeah, and the sword shit, like the sword shop, I loved every second of that. Part of the reason why I want to see what's her name so much more with all of her information she had on the swords, like I kind of want to like see more of her story.
Oh, Tashigi.
Yeah, understand more of where, like, why she's got all this knowledge of swords, where she, like, blah blah blah, yada yada. It's hard to put a number on it. I did really, really enjoy this one, but a lot of the Baratier, just because it's just something so fun about Ocean Restaurant. But this was solid. This was a great one, and it really does feel like the world is completely opened up at this point. Pete?
This was fun. Like, I think to me, if I'm talking purely about, volumes or chapters that have been most impactful, I think, to no one's surprise, Volume 9 was a really strong one for me, because, and I think Michael pointed it out during the last episode, that's my thing. Like, character building, character development, stories is really something that I focus on. But there was something just purely fun in seeing the characters be in a relatively new environment and feeling like that environment opens up the door for so much more to come in the future. To me, this was a fantastic transition volume. The fact that we were reintroduced to characters that we have seen in previous volumes was really neat. introduced to new characters. It set the scene really well for what's to come. And I can appreciate that it ended on a not so cliffhanger. Like, I feel like Oda likes to do that, ending on a cliffhanger, but this time it felt like we had some level of resolve from the previous arc. Maybe because that's it, because now we're not just ending a volume, we're ending an arc. And I felt satisfied. I felt like we had accomplished something. Like this volume was an accomplishment in getting Arlong down, getting Cocoa Village back to the people that actually know how to run it properly. Like, this was, yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed that volume. Like I said, maybe not as many tears as my masochistic mind would like, but I definitely had a few tearing up moments towards the end of the Cocoa Village arc, so to speak. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what's next in the next arc, but also the next, like in the One Piece universe in general. I feel like that kind of opened my eyes to the potential of what there is for us to explore and find out more about. And I'm happy. This was a really good conclusion. And it also it left me with just a little bit of thirst for what else we might experience in this universe. Yeah, really good one. Yeah, I don't have much else.
So, with that, I'll lift the embargo on Volume 12. Read at your leisure, because leisure time is coming. Mm-hmm. We will nail down some of our future plans after the cruise. We're going to take a much-deserved break here. We'll be back around the beginning of May, I think, is the most likely time. Again, check us out on social media for more information. That is Twitter, @PodPodFruit, Instagram, PodPodFruit, same on YouTube, and our Discord is always in our description. We want to hear from you. All of you. Even the meanies. But
we want attention.
Yes,
please give us attention.
Pay attention to me.
Notice me.
But I just want to thank Dylan and V for joining me and putting in the work that they do. I want to thank our listeners for listening. We hope that you enjoyed everything that we've put out thus far. And yeah, as for now, bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Ciao, Bella.